All right, ladies and gentlemen, I think we're back. So invite everybody back in. No, we're gonna. I'm learning a lot about YouTube at the moment. Ironically, apparently you can just keep the stream going. I think we're still using the same streams. That's way better than Facebook. Am I right, boys?
You guys working, but no sound.
We should have some sound now, I think. Are you watching the show, Dave?
No, I'm messaging everyone to rewatch it.
Oh, yeah. Someone move one of these levels down. All right, this is possibly the most awkward start to a show I've had. Pretty much ever.
There've been others.
They're actually, yeah, true.
There's been others.
I have done shows where no one actually rocked up. So
Working on with sound.
we're working with sound.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, it's only a live show, so we can. I'll share the stream a little. To those who stuck around the whole time, thank you guys very much. That was very loyal of you. I'm just gonna.
Not like they got anything better to do.
Well, you never know. They might.
Maybe.
Survivor.
Hey. X-Nay on Evivasay.
Sorry, guys. I know this is boring. Just watching me.
Did anybody watch MasterChef?
Hell yeah, watch MasterChef.
Was anybody glad that Larissa won?
I wanted Tessa to win.
No! Come on, man. Larissa was going to win, and I'm glad she won. She deserved it. Although, Derek should have won it. Just saying.
Yeah, I wanted Derek.
I wanted Derek to win, and I'm like, how do you screw up that, Derek, man? Shame. It was a good show. I thought she blew it at the end.
Larissa?
Mm.
Yeah, she's always going to win, I reckon.
If you're wondering who that female voice is in the background, that is our
Dave
producer.
putting a voice on.
It's Dave.
Hence why it's not working the show.
Hi everyone.
Snap.
Hey, Dr. Nick.
Oh my god, I forgot to wear a bra today.
You always forget to wear a bra.
I think I might go for a jog.
Hey, welcome back, Kaiser.
All right, I think we're working again. I'm not 100% sure. I'm just going to wait for our producer to get back in the chair. All the cameras seem to be operating, which is fantastic. Maybe I have too many cameras in here. Who knows?
That doesn't sound creepy at all.
All right, let's just act like there's not. What are you doing?
I'm making it up a little bit.
Did I not get you on your good angle?
No, it's just my hat. I got to get my hat in.
You let's talk about your trip overseas, Dave. Just when you're done. When you're done.
It's all good. Oh, mate. The trip was phenomenal. I had a great time. It started off in the UK.
Yep.
So I caught up with all the UK guys, and we had 4 days planned in the studio, and then I was going to DJ and then fly off to Amsterdam. So 4 days in the studio. 4 days in the studio. Love song dedications. APSI. This one goes out to all the
That's what
ladies.
happened in the
4
studio.
days in the studio, Dave.
So 4 days in the studio turned into 3 days in pubs drinking.
That's kind of in the studio because that's exactly what happens anyway.
Were you with Rob?
Yeah, Rob.
Oh, that makes sense.
Rob OIF. Oh my God. The guy's, if he's not drinking, he's trying to help me work out what Uber Eats we're going to get.
What the hell? Why?
He just eats all the time.
Drinks and eats.
Yeah.
Dude, I would have been smashing bangers and mash. Like, that is the best thing about the UK.
The reason why there's no food in Africa, Rob's eating it all.
Damn you, Rob.
I hope Rob's on.
Yeah, so we ended up, we did end up working on one tune with MC Eruption.
Nice.
So I'm so keen to play that out. It's not fully mastered yet, but I'll play the one that I've got on hand on Saturday at Massive, which will be sick.
Sick.
Then from the UK, we all travelled. Oh, I got a story first. Have we got time?
Well, we just started the show, so.
All right. So in the UK,
I'd be scared if we didn't. Like, where did the past 2 hours go?
in the UK, right? There's this like a pub franchise.
Yeah.
And
they have Foster's on tap.
mate,
So good.
Mate, who drinks Foster's?
what are they
It's
doing?
so good.
Foster's
Toilet
is the
water.
worst, man.
It's good on tap.
Mate,
I think-
VB Foster's.
I think I'd
Seriously.
rather buy some bath water off an Instagram girl or something than drink Foster's. Ugh.
Have you bought? Did you do it?
So I've got this story, right? No, I
I'll
did
take
not.
that as a yes. Damn, Dave.
I'm more of a shower water guy, champagne showers. So there's this pub,
Franchise.
and each table has like a table number, right?
Right.
And there's an app you can download, and you can download the app, type in your table number, and order all your drinks off the app and pay for it, and then they just bring you the alcohol.
That's pretty cool.
And Rob goes, watch this, and he puts which pub we're at, which is the airport one, and our table number, and everyone just started ordering us drinks on his friends list.
This is fantastic.
We ended up with like 30 drinks, and people were sending us apple juice and then all these beers and stuff. And
As in people from not people that weren't with you.
Rob's friends on
No,
Facebook.
people on the internet were just ordering drinks from him.
People from the
We
States
could have
and
done
on the UK and
So basically, people were just paying for your shit.
Yeah, it's like it's like sourcing your night out. This is such a cool thing.
What the fuck?
it was amazing. Me and Rob were so blotto at the airport, and we're like, I can't drink no more, Rob. And Rob's like, me neither. And his face starts going like that. And the ladies come over, and she's like, we're going to have to ask you to ask your friends to stop ordering you drinks because you guys don't look like you're okay to keep drinking. And Rob's like, well, I'm still okay to keep drinking. I'm looking at it and I'm going, help. We started giving drinks to the table next to us. And then about 10 minutes later, they're looking at us going, no more drinks for us either.
Weren't the staff like initially just like, oh, so weirdly there's this one table here that is ordering more drinks than clearly they can handle.
It happens at all these places across the country. And it's just like an English prank that they all do.
This is great for marketing.
I
for the pub.
really want to get this. I really want to
the-
try this app at Massive.
It's the
Yeah.
best.
and literally put it online. Hey guys, can you spot? Well, that's kind of pointless because I get drinks for free anyway.
Well, not this month. Can't get Carlos drunk this month.
Yeah,
but
not
next
this
month.
month. Well, it's only one more weekend.
Yeah, you've done dry July like
I have.
all July.
I have. It's been the biggest eye opener.
Yeah. But doing dry July, do you sort of realize how much you actually drink when you actually have to start saying no to yourself?
Yeah, it was more so. I mean, when I drink, it's usually the thing I realize is that it's not me going out to get smashed. It's me progressively drinking to the point where I'd end up drunk, and it's not like I'd be like smashing 3, 4, 5, 6 drinks like in the space of like half an hour. It'd be me going to the bar, getting 2 drinks, smashing that, then getting more drinks, then getting more drinks,
Yeah.
then getting more drinks, and especially like the biggest learning curve was usually when I get to the club, it's like. I'll get like a couple of shots of Aguas, I'll get like a tequila, and then I'll have like 2 vodka sodas, and I'm good to go. Like it calms the nerves if I'm nervous or whatever.
Yep.
That was the biggest learning curve because from the get go, like all I had was the soda water. I'm like, shit, I'm like the nerves are there, but then it allowed me to learn to deal with it. Which is
Yeah.
good. So
I've seen you with trays of Jaeger bombs.
Oh, man.
no, you'd never see me with Trey.
Agua bombs.
Yeah,
Agua
thank
bombs,
you.
Yeah.
Jaeger, man, I can't.
I've thought about just following you around Massive once. Just like,
You don't want to do
pinch
that.
like one every time.
I'll give you drinks. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, but it's more fun if I'm not meant to have them. You see.
Oh, man. Oh,
All right. So what happened after
then,
you got drunk for free off everyone?
crawled our way to the plane, and then
Oh, you had the flight to catch.
yeah,
Oh my god.
Rob's like, you have to be sober, or they're not going to let us on the plane. And I'm looking at him going, I want to say the same thing, but my mouth is not really uttering
How
those words.
How did you guys not go Facebook Live on this? This would have been fucking
I
hilarious.
think you just did, didn't you?
Oh, we recorded some videos,
Yeah.
but like it was just difficult to use our brains at that moment.
Damo's online and he said, Dave messaged me and I was in Amsterdam. He told me what was happening. Normally when he messages me, I'm like, he's bullshitting. But I had got told, it's been going around.
Yeah. Everyone does it. Like it's just a thing in England. They all do it to each other. So when we got to Holland, first time in Europe, so Amsterdam, out of all the places I saw in Europe, Amsterdam is hands down one of the most beautiful places I've ever visited.
Was that your first time in Amsterdam?
First time in Europe.
Oh, right.
So I
Your
was
first time ever in Europe.
first time ever in Europe, yeah.
Hectic. That
Yeah.
makes it so much more. Like, I remember my first. Time in Europe.
Was it on a Dutch bicycle without the seat?
I never rode a bicycle in Holland.
Who has
I
it?
didn't either. I didn't even get a photo in front of the Amsterdam sign. Just forgot
That's
about
impossible, man. You have to go really early or really, really late
Yeah.
it. Oh,
to get that.
I don't know. We
You didn't ride a bicycle.
no.
Why not?
We were to Blotto all the time.
I've got to say, Amsterdam is just gorgeous.
I loved it.
It's so beautiful.
brilliant. So I found out something, right? You know how in Amsterdam all the houses are really narrow? Mm-hmm. Like they're really narrow, like
Yep.
much, but they're really tall.
Yep.
The reason why it's like that is because land rates are really expensive there.
Yep.
So they've worked out it's cheaper to build a really narrow house, but build it really high, than actually have big frontage.
So have you?
That
So
makes a lot of
did you
sense.
did you go into any houses in Holland?
Not. Well, we went to my mate Tim's, but his was probably a bit more modern than the rest.
So you weren't introduced to the Dutch staircase.
Not yet, no.
Oh mate, you dodged a bullet. So like you were saying, like we're in Holland, because obviously land rates are so expensive and they've got really narrow houses.
Yeah.
And the only way they get what they do is they build up. So then, what people first notice when they like if they do Airbnb or anything, is the staircase, and it is very what's the term I'm looking for?
Steep.
It's very
Yeah.
steep.
Oh yeah.
To the point where only half your foot fits on one step. So you have to walk with the front of your foot, and these stairs go for ages. Like,
Oh, I can feel it in the calf muscles.
yeah, you
already.
feel like it's like I didn't even need to do a workout. I could just walk up and down the stairs, and it's like it's a workout.
Well, I had an Airbnb which was one floor up, so that was like going through a cave in Jenolan Caves. But what I found the funniest was wherever you walked in Amsterdam, especially at night, some random black dude walked past you and went, cocaine, and then just kept walking. And then another one would like come across like cocaine, and you're like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah, I'm like, excuse me, what?
What? Cocaine.
Not because I was saying cocaine, I just would hear like muffling. You're not expecting anyone to talk to you when you're in a foreign
Are you
country.
sure it wasn't voices in your head?
No.
Wow, no.
Because when I posted it as a meme on my Facebook going me, and then random black dude in Amsterdam, cocaine. About 100 people commented going, "Oh my god, this is so true."
Maybe it's just one guy.
Same guy.
Same guy. Hey,
And surprisingly, outside FIBO.
Nikki says Dutch people are really tall, and that's why their houses are designed for tall people. She's a short girl, so that's her.
they are
short girl
really
problem.
tall in Holland. It's trippy. I think it's all the mayonnaise and banana sandwiches they eat.
Larissa reckons that walking down the stairs would be more dangerous than walking up the stairs.
When you're trying to bring your luggage up and down those stairs, yeah. When you've got a big suitcase trying to bring
Yeah.
it downstairs,
Just throw it.
yeah, you just literally just
But-
slide it down and just let it roll.
But that's also why all the houses in Holland are lean, facing forwards. There's that big hook.
Oh
Look up the
yeah.
top. Apparently that's for ships too, apparently, or something.
I got told
And for
it's
lugging
because
stuff up.
it's the only way they can bring
Yeah.
furniture in.
Yeah, because they can't get up the stairwell.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, Amsterdam was crazy. I loved it.
And you were over there for DEF CON, obviously.
Yeah, mate. DEF CON.
Here we go. It was his first time.
We got cabins, right? So the cabin experience was phenomenal.
Is that on site? Like
Mate,
camping? But
My biggest recommendation, if you ever go to DEF CON Holland, try and get on the cabins.
yeah.
Yeah.
They have jacuzzis, saunas, we
What?
have private baths, private takeaway food area. We have massage tables and hammocks and like just for people that were in cabins in luxury camping.
Right.
They had the toilets. Like I'm pretty like I will hold a shit
Oh, I'm the same.
Yeah, I'm the same.
till I get home. Like
I need a comfortable space to poo.
It needs to be clean as fuck.
And
the showers and the toilets in the private camping area.
Yeah. Well, did you have to share them, or you didn't get your own? Or?
No, it was communal.
Oh, okay.
And it didn't stress you because I had people working there the whole day making sure everything was clean.
Oh, okay, cool.
The whole day, it was perfect. It was immaculate. Like you walked in and it was like, oh my God, this is brand new.
Yeah.
And it's just the Dutch, man. The Dutch are second to none with the way they organize stuff, eh? And the whole experience, the whole of DEF CON was phenomenal. It was something I will never forget for the rest of my life. And now I've been to quite a few DEF CONs here in Australia,
Yeah.
but DEF CON NL there's nothing like it.
But do you think it's I mean, the difference is the people though? Because I mean, the thing that pops up when you say look, there are cleaners there and whatnot is that you also got people that respect the property and everything, right?
Oh man, it's so different. I can't say. So a lot of people have told me the same thing. Oh yeah, it's the people's different, but it's not, because everyone in the world goes to DEF CON in NL, but not everyone in the world comes to DEF CON Australia. We have guests from around the world, but if you go to DEF CON NL, not everyone there's from Holland. I wouldn't even say half of the people there from Holland.
Oh, half of them are.
Oh, I don't know. Like, there were so many people there from Germany, from France, from England, from Australia, like from everywhere. Like, it was such a global event that I think everyone feeling they were with together brought that respect.
Yep.
And one thing I noticed, the drug culture
Yep.
is, the mentality for drugs in Holland is completely different.
Yeah.
And the mentality for alcohol is day and night compared to Australia. So
100%.
in Europe, you can go to the local corner store, the Servo. You can
Get a
go
six-pack.
anywhere and just buy beer. It's right next to the soft drink.
Yeah.
I mean, people are drinking at young ages there, and it's not looked down upon. It's not over, the authority is not right over it. So you get into these big festivals and people are like, oh, I'll drink a little bit. I might do a little bit of drugs, but they're not going hard out.
Yep.
They're not trying to compete, or they feel like, oh my God, I need to cram everything because this event's only going to be for one day.
I think that has a lot to do with education of the whole thing as well, too. Though, like, if
think
you're educated about it, then you don't feel the need to abuse that.
Yeah, but I think,
You don't
I
see-
think it's culture though.
There's-
There's one thing education, there's one thing culture. Like, I mean,
There's
I
no
thi-
cops. You don't see no cops.
Yeah.
They're all undercover.
Yeah.
There are cops there.
Yeah.
And I was talking to some of the organisers there, and they said there is so many cops there at DEF CON NL, but they're all undercover. They all
just
because
blend in.
They do it that way because they've learned in Holland, they catch way more criminals by being relaxed and watching than being over the top and harassing everyone.
Yep.
And that's what they've learned in Europe.
And they're going after the dealers. They don't want to. They don't care about the ones that have got one or two or just partying.
And they bust people, but 100,000 people over 3 days and not one single incident, not one single death, not one person hospitalized.
I think there were.
Well, not from what I heard when I was over there.
From the stats that I saw, there were some.
Oh.
Yeah, but
Injury,
again,
like hospitalizations, or
there were medical incidents, but that was more but that's got to do with heat, and the majority
Mate, it was hot.
and the majority of things that we see in Australia is the same thing. It's a combination of heat, it's a combination of alcohol, it's a
Yeah.
combination of drugs. So while there is an education, while we could say it's an education thing, it's also a culture thing where
well, hang on, wait. Just to clarify, there were no deaths.
there were no deaths.
No deaths. There were no people left in comas or in critical condition.
No.
Also, another thing to note is this was the first DEF CON NL that had no rain.
Yeah, I was gonna say when I've been over there, it was not super hot, and it definitely rained.
Yeah. First DEF, and it was hot. Like, it felt like an Australian summer,
Yep.
but not as hot as we get it. But
Yeah.
definitely one of our warmer days.
Yep.
It's very European hot.
Yeah. Because European hot is very sticky.
Yeah, it's a different kind of hot for
yeah,
sure.
Australia's a dry heat, whereas
One of the things that I never realised, because I just didn't know this, but obviously in Australia the sun sets around 5 going on to 6, somewhere between there.
you got introduced to 10 p.m., didn't you?
10 p.m. the sun is setting, and I'm going, what the hell? It's 10 o'clock and the sun's not down. What the hell is going on
And
here?
it's up again at 4 a.m.
And 4 o'clock in the morning, I'm like, oh my God, I haven't slept yet. The sun's coming up.
Mate, you know what? It makes benders a bit more weird.
So there's a lot of things like
Makes pulling an all-nighter a bit easier though.
I thought it'd make it it would make it harder.
No, because the night's shorter, so it's
That,
like a lot shorter.
the whole of DEF CON was amazing. It's such a huge event. Like literally, I would almost say it's probably 3 times the size of DEF CON Australia.
No, bigger,
Geographically, I reckon.
bigger.
You
Like,
reckon?
it'd be like 4 or 5 times because you're getting
Oh.
take into consideration the camping grounds.
Oh,
which is
yeah.
huge. Plus, they use Wallaby World. Plus the actual grounds themselves. It'd be about 6 times the size of DEF CON Australia.
Mate,
Did
it's
you
huge.
find that when you were at DEF CON as well, like when it got to about 9 o'clock and it's nearly fireworks time, and you're like, they can't do fireworks like this. It's too bright. And I reckon they time DEF CON just as it gets dark. That's when all the fireworks start kicking off.
Hey, DEF CON main stage is something to behold, Like, I love DEF CON Australia. The end show is phenomenal. It's better than New Year's Eve fireworks for me.
Yep.
It's better. It's heaps better. You feel like you're part of a community watching fireworks, where in Australia watching New Year's Eve fireworks, you're like, oh my God, I hope I can get through this crowd and all these people pissing me off and
How am I getting home?
how am I getting home? But then when you're at DEF CON NL and you're in an auditorium type space with 70,000 people,
Yeah,
and a song comes up and everyone is singing it,
it's pretty magical.
it's the most magical moment I had was at the Blue Stage in the tent, and I just happened to walk into that area because I was looking for someone, and I stopped for a minute because I'm like, oh, who's playing? Oh, it's Brendan Hart. I'm like, oh, mad, and I'll just stay for a little bit, and then he just not even a minute later he dropped Imaginary, and I was like, oh my God, this is my favorite song, and then the whole room singing the chorus to Imaginary, how I every hair on my body stood up, and I swear for maybe the next 3 weeks afterwards, just thinking of that moment.
Yeah.
And then not long after he played Follow the Sun,
Follow the light.
Follow the Light. Sorry, same thing all over again, and it's just something else.
Brendan
Like,
Hart knows how to bring the chills on,
Oh,
like in a
man.
big way. And Imaginary is all about chills.
Yeah.
Chills.
oh
I
man,
think the mad thing, the mad thing about DEF CON is that most people are respectful.
yeah.
That you do what you go where you want and you appreciate what you appreciate, and
The rest of the bombs.
it kind of takes you away from the whole this whole divided thing that Raw style is better than Euphoric and vice versa. Like there, you feel united as one.
Yeah.
Well, in Holland,
And every stage is full there too. Like
this is really funny, right? Because I spoke to a few agencies from Holland. Raw style is hard style for them.
Yep.
They don't see raw style, hard style. For them, it's hard style.
Yeah.
yeah.
They call it either hard style or hardcore.
Yep.
So happy hardcore, UK hardcore is hardcore.
Yep.
Just like Frenchcore is hardcore. Industrial is hardcore. They have 2 categories and they keep it nice and simple.
Yep.
And all these categories that we know, it's the rest of us that are doing that.
Yep.
And I think by us doing that, we start thinking, oh, we're more like this is better because I listen to this specific genre and it's better than the rest.
Yep.
But in Holland, they're not like that at all. They listen to hardstyle, raw style, hardcore. They listen to it all
Everything.
equally. They love it all because it's all the same family to them.
Yep.
And that was a massive difference for me.
Yep.
And it was a huge difference actually, and it's a totally different mental state, you know. But I got another story. So when I get to Schiphol Airport and I get to customs, and the guy at customs, the 2 Dutch guys at customs, what is the purpose of your visit? I'm like, I'm here to party, man. And they're like, oh yeah, what party are you going to? I go, DEF CON. He goes, hardstyle. And I go, yeah, man. He goes, oh, you're from Australia. Really sorry to hear about that bitch that destroyed DEF CON there. And I'm like, yeah, man. He goes,
That's
"You
awesome.
shit, idiot.
wow.
It's not your fault some people died. And I'm there going, oh, well, you know, what are you going to do? You know, like it's a touchy subject. He goes, well, just move to Holland and party every week with us. And I'm like, I'll let you know after DEF CON. And I went through and they're like, yeah, fist pumping. And they were like all smiles. And the next person walked up. Purpose of your visit.
That's so great.
Sick.
It's like, DEF CON!
Wow, I don't think I'd even when going through customs at like the US airport, it's like, what's the reason you'll visit? Like, partying would be like the last thing that that's quite a response.
Man, I'm telling you, one of the days I wore my Australian flag with the Thunderdome logo on it as a cape.
Yep.
And that day I had hundreds of people come up to me. I'm not over exaggerating. Like there was hundreds, like people would come up to you going, hey, Australia, you know, this and that.
Yep.
And out of half the people that came up to me, they all knew who Gladys was and hated her. And they weren't even from Australia. What does that tell you?
Yeah,
What does that tell you? Like,
it's good to know that the Dutch people's fingers on the pulse of what's going on in Australia.
no,
It's
these
not just
people
Dutch,
weren't all Dutch.
It's from all over.
These
it's all
were
over Europe.
Germans,
Yep.
French
Yeah.
people, English people. Like these are people from everywhere. I even bumped into a guy from Chile, a couple of people from the US, some guy from Japan came up to me.
That's random.
Man, the DEF CON NL brings everyone.
Yeah, no, it's great, eh?
That was exceptional. That was great.
I've been told to ask you about Gold Stage with Doom.
Oh, man, holy cow! So, I to rewind a little bit back, because I've been doing all these like edits and tracks and stuff and releasing them for free, and someone sent me a message saying, "Hey, you know your song got played in Germany." I'm there going, "Which one?" And they go, "Your blah 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 edit that you did with Rico." And I'm like, "Oh, mad." He goes, "Yeah, but it was played by a guy called June." And I'm like, "What?" Wait, what? This is June. Like, June, Can't Stop Raving, Million Miles, you know, like Rainbow to the Stars. You know, like, he's a legend. His tracks are on the charts. Like, this guy's like a legend. I have so many of his vinyls and stuff, you know. And I'm like, no way. And then a few days later, I'm getting private messages from him asking for more tunes. And then he tells me, I play at least one or two of your tracks in every one of my sets. And I'm like, are you serious? I go, which ones? He goes, not all of them. I've gone, oh my God. Like my head was spinning. And then he goes, dude, we need to write a song together. And I'm like, hell yeah. And so we started working on something and we ended up coming up with After the Storm track. And he goes to me, I'm going to play it at DEF CON and I'll play it at Tomorrowland. And I'm like,
No way.
Like, I'm like, no, I'm freaking out. Like, are you serious? This is crazy. He goes, yeah. You're coming to DEF CON, yeah? I go, yeah. He goes, I'll get you a backstage pass. You can come up on stage with me. I'm there going, I didn't believe it. Like, not one single bit of me believed it. Especially when I was on the plane leaving to Holland. I never got any email correspondence from Q-Dance. I know the way Q-Dance are. They're professional. You don't just go backstage.
Yeah.
All right? And I'm like thinking, it was nice of him to say that. We made the song, like, I'm already over the moon. And then on the day, he messages me going, yeah, meet me half an hour before my set on the side, and then the stage manager's going to let you through. And I'm like...
Yeah, I wouldn't believe it.
I'm like, we'll see.
Yeah.
Like, I just didn't want to, like...
You believe it and get crushed.
I just really didn't want to be devastated by it. And next minute, I'm backstage talking to June's wife, looking at June behind the decks, and I'm like, oh my God, this is actually happening. Holy cow, this is actually happening. And then they stopped the music, and the MC goes, we're really excited to introduce to you a guy that's come all the way from Australia who's just written a song with June. Everyone make some noise for Dave PSI. I'm like, holy crap, they just stopped the music for me. And then I come up the stairs and the whole Gold Stage starts cheering and I give June a massive hug and I'm like, thank you, man, like trying not to cry. And then the MC comes over and gives me the mic and he goes, you MC? I'm like, ran around the front and I start MCing, I'm dancing, I'm doing my thing. It was mad. Like, and it was so great because there was so many Aussies there that I knew that were there. Like I had Jared and Nat and I had Talia from Melbourne. I had Jamie and Jackie and Maddie and Glenn, and like there was a huge a bunch of my friends there recording, and then all the rest of the people there that were dancing away to the song, and
Awesome, man.
Yeah,
then he
man.
came out the front, and I ended up getting a shirt off him, which I don't know if you can see.
Perfect.
Nice.
Hardcore Vibes, because he did Hardcore Vibes as well. Hardcore Vibes.
Yeah.
The guy's a
What's it
legend,
say at
man.
the top? I love my.
I love my brand new promo shirt, Hardcore Vibes.
I remember when we were having this argument over what the lyrics were for that.
Signed by June.
And like we were arguing online, and then someone tagged Oliver June.
Yeah.
And I said it was hardcore that I run things, and Jace was like, "No, it's not." Jace said it was something else, and Oliver goes, "No, it's right." And Jace just goes, "No, I don't believe it."
All right,
That's awesome, man. That's
That
it.
was
Well done.
mad, yeah. That was sick.
Well done.
And Oliver is one of the most kindest humans I've ever met. Like, he's genuinely, like, spiritually very, very humble and innocent guy.
Yeah.
And he didn't just play old school. Like, he was really diverse. I was actually really surprised with this set.
What was the gold stage?
Gold Stage was classics.
Okay.
So I think Mental Theo played on there, and Ophidian. No, Ophidian played on
Charlie
the
Low Noise.
Yeah, yeah. There was like heaps of classic sets on there. It was great. It was funny because the two stages were back to back. So silver and gold were back to back, but there was
Yeah.
no sound clash, which was really weird. It worked really well. But yeah, it was just an amazing day. And then to be there for Dither, after becoming mates with him when he came out here, and then to be front and center for his set showcasing his album. And I talked to him a lot, and he was quite nervous because, I mean, he's showcasing his first album and on the black stage at DEF CON,
Yeah.
and he had a peak time, and one of the best sets at DEF CON, hands down. Like, it was amazing, and he killed it, and now he's one of the headliners at Thunderdome. His career's just skyrocketed. The guy's amazing. He's such a great producer.
Yeah.
And I don't want to fast forward too much, but at Hard Island,
I do.
oh, sorry.
That's me, man.
At Hard Island,
Shit, I'm actually sticking up for Dave.
he was amazing
What
at
the
Hard
hell,
Island
man?
too.
Sorry, Dave. What?
Oh no, at Hard Island he was
Yeah.
incredible as well.
Yeah.
Like, he packed it at Hard Island. It was easy, like one of the most rammed sets.
I think he and Deadly Guns are that sort of new breed that are coming through and absolutely smashing at the moment, because I just bring like everybody knows the at the moment.
Yeah, well, everyone's calling Dither the new Envitral.
The new and Vitral.
Yeah, because that's how popular Dither is becoming overseas.
Yeah, I think personally, I'd like to.
They write songs together too.
Yeah,
they
I
do
like-
Hammer
I-
Dance and all that.
Yeah, but I like to see Dither in his own because I think there's been no one like Dither.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
there hasn't been a blueprint. I mean, my favorite thing about Dither is his versatility. There's not just he doesn't have the same sound over and over and over again, but he has an identity that you know is a Dither track.
Oh man,
And you remember when he came for Hard Island in Australia?
yeah. Mate, you should have seen him at Rocket Science. He killed it.
Yeah,
It was amazing.
I wish I could have.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's the thing. Like, his sound is just very, very unique. And so I guess same with Deadly Guns as well. Is that he's sort of the new generation of hardcore where I mean uses raw kicks as well.
Yeah, he's very diverse. Mate, it was just the whole of DEF CON was second to none.
What? Okay, so give me your top 3 highlights.
Oh man,
Doesn't have to be like 1, 2, 3. Can be just 3.
definitely the end show.
Yep.
That end show was phenomenal. We were supposed to go and watch Paul Elstak because I hadn't seen him in years.
You missed Paul Elstak.
And we-
Tell me you didn't miss Paul Elstak.
We couldn't get away from.
Dude.
Dude, the main stage was
You
incredible.
had one job. You had one job.
Sorry, everyone. Sorry, Paul.
Yeah, apologize to everyone.
Sorry, Paul. Don't bash me. Dither was definitely a highlight because his set was incredible.
Yep.
Obviously, being up on stage with June was incredible. Like that was. I will
You're not
never.
gonna
I'll
you'll
never
never
forget that
forget it,
moment. But you know what? There were so many little moments. There were, especially with friends. Like,
Yes.
spending a lot of time with friends. Rob got so blasted on the last day. Like,
Are you starting to see a common theme
he
here?
lost his phone. He
What?
was walking around half the day with no shirt, and he's English, so he turned red
seen
like
the
a
videos.
tomato.
Dude.
We were calling him Rob Lobster.
Oh my god.
He didn't even see the end show. He passed out somewhere.
What?
And the guy that he was with in England, from England, Jack, he passed out in the toilet.
That's the best place to pass out too.
How do you pass out in the as
Mate,
in sitting down?
you
Because
just-
they've only got portaloos, right?
It's hot and you get blotto.
Yeah.
It's just the way it is.
Yeah.
Those portaloos at DEF CON are generally pretty disgusting.
Yes.
Most of them are a hole in the ground. There is,
Yes.
they are. Oh, it's just.
It's fucking disgusting.
All I'll say is, whenever I really needed to go, I left wherever I was and went straight back to camping because
Yeah.
it was good there.
Oh, so you could actually get in and out of camping.
yeah, the whole day.
Okay,
It was
wow.
on the same site.
I remember when I went to DEF CON in Holland and a guy walked in and I shit you not with a trolley full of booze. Like a trolley, like a, the ones that.
Yeah.
And it was stacked. And no one gave him a second look, and he had no accreditation of any description on it. I'm just like,
You can bring your own alcohol. They don't do nothing. They don't say nothing.
yeah, it was.
Oh, this was another thing I saw.
Anyway, we need
was-
to move on from DEF CON soon.
I'll be really quick.
Yeah.
So final three things.
Otherwise, we'll be here all
One,
night talking about DEF.
Flugel girls walking around with boxes of Flugel.
I can't do Flugel anymore. Because the first year that I went, I'll be quick. Sorry, Kaiser.
No, you're right.
Come on, man. He just came back. Leave Dave alone.
Oh,
It's not often that I stick
I'm
up a
only
Dave, I
showing
missed you. Can't wait to hear your story.
The first year I went to Holland, and I kept drinking Flugel, and I was like, it was all right, but until you're wasted and it comes out, it looks like an episode of The Exorcist.
I've never drunk it ever.
It's
I'm drinking Flugel. These are so nice, man. How much alcohol's in them? 10%. What? 10%? Give me more.
you just down them the whole
And then
day.
a few hours later,
Yes.
where is everyone? I was replying to my messages. Oh, my phone died.
Might go have a sleep in the toilet now.
The second one was there were guys walking around with keg backpacks refilling drinks for €1.
What?
What?
You give them €1 and they just refill your cup and then they move on to the next person. And I'm like,
Could that work here?
no, because you
How
can't.
are
You
you
gotta
going to
have,
get the keg in?
there's no responsible service of alcohol with a keg on your back. The third one.
Hang on. If you've got an artist pass,
I'm actually thinking about it like if it was like, no, it's not going to work.
because that's kind of like a bit of a doof concept as well, or Burning Man is like you don't really pay for anything, you barter.
Oh, yeah.
So like people at Burning Man will have. I've got a friend that goes and they take a van that is just stock full of alcohol, and that's his Like he'll just hand out drinks, and people got to give him money, acid or mushrooms or something.
Yeah.
Well, that's what that guy was trying to do when he drove into the two cop cars. He was just trying to get to Burning Man with all his amphetamines.
the only thing that's being burnt is him right now.
Just on that though, just on that. Just imagine, just for a moment, that you're driving a car with $260 million worth of meth in it. Wouldn't you be thinking, you know what? Might actually concentrate on this trip, like not take things so
See, there's
blah.
got to be something funny with it because out of everything that he crashes into, it's a cop car.
See,
Like I would only crash into a cop car if I wanted to get busted.
Exactly, and this is what I think. So I think he's got himself in a position. This is my theory, right? He's got himself in a position where he's kind of fucked. Like maybe when he goes to deliver these things, he's gonna die. If he doesn't deliver them, he's gonna die.
Yeah.
What do? Get arrested. Yeah, how do you do it? Well, you could just drive, I guess, to the cop shop, park it in an ordinary fashion, and hand yourself in, or go out with a bang, smash a cop car.
Give me one. Oh yeah, red and black.
I got all these. I got so many when I was overseas. The third one, the final one.
These are fucking sick, man. Holy shit. Where have these been all my life?
Yeah, can we just put it on D for a sec?
Holy dude. Thanks for the present, bro. These
Can
are
I wear them down?
No.
no. What are you, a dad? What's wrong with you?
Oh,
Damn, he's a bad man.
Yeah.
fuck it. We're in Rome.
When I was in,
Literally winning.
when I was in Holland, people were like, "Hey!" and they high five me because they've got bike caps too.
Yeah.
And then they come up to me going, "Oh, so you like bicycles?" I go, "No,
Nah.
just the hats."
But I don't get it. Is it? What's with this bit?
Well, you're supposed to wear your helmet over the top,
Right.
and
So
then
you
while
actually-
you're cycling, you're looking down, and you don't need a whole hat.
Yeah.
So you just need enough to give you a little bit of shade while you're cycling.
This offers very limited.
Yeah, but while you're
You don't
looking
need
down
that
and cycling, you
protection.
don't need it.
Yeah, because it's on your line
And
of
it-
sight.
So the third and final one, right?
Yep.
Was when DEF CON was done and dusted, everyone was leaving, and we went back to the camping ground. Someone brought out a speaker from their tent
Oh, Jesus.
to the bar area, and then everyone from the camping ground started trickling out of their cabins and tents, and it turned into a full-on rave in the camping grounds around these speakers.
Yeah.
And it was amazing. It was amazing. They would not let the party die, and it went for hours.
That's for me. That's it. That's the best thing about DEF CON. It is the people. And I was going to say to you before,
It really is.
I think as great as an event is, it's the people that you're with that make it even better.
Yeah.
That you go with a group and you're not with them 24/7. You just go with a group that makes it even better. You go do your own thing. You all meet back up, but like an event and a trip is only as good as the people that you go with.
Yeah.
And if you go with a mad crew, you're gonna have a mad time.
Look at Caleb checking himself out.
Yeah.
You like him, eh? They're all right, huh?
It feels kind of weird.
It looks mad on you. I'll give you that.
I'm not sure.
I'm pretty sure.
Makes my head look kind of fat.
No, you're good.
Yeah. All right. Are we moving on to Hard Island?
I got a story.
I think that's going to be the catch cry
Yeah.
of the day.
I got a story. All right.
All right.
So after DEF CON,
Yeah.
I went to France, right? And I had 3 days in Paris. Well, 2 half days and a whole day, right? And it's my first time in Europe, and it's my first time in Paris. And on the first night there, I walk everywhere because I want to.
Sorry, I don't know why I find that funny.
Just wait.
I think it's the way you said it. It was like, on the first night, I walk.
I walked 22 kilometers
Yeah.
that night, just seeing everything. The city at night, the streets, the people, like everything. The next day, I'm going to check out all the proper attractions, the Louvre, the Arc de Triomphe, the Eiffel Tower, all the things, right? But the first thing I go to is the Louvre because it's going to be the place where I spend the most time. So I get there and it's quiet. I'm like, what's going on here? And I'm looking around and I go up to the guard and I'm going, oh, how do I go in? And the guard is like, sorry, monsieur, in France, all museums are closed on Tuesday. And I'm like, what?
What a random rule.
He goes, you'll have to come back tomorrow. I'm like, oh, crap. So I go from the Louvre and I go check out everything else, right? I get to my hotel. The next day, I leave early. I won't go on about my suitcase story, but I managed to get my suitcase away and I get to the Louvre and I'm in the queue and everyone's heading into the pyramid to go downstairs to the main foyer. And I get to the front and the security guy goes, ticket. I'm like, oh no, I'm buying one inside. Because one of my sisters told me, oh, you can get tickets inside. And I've gone, oh, I'm buying a ticket inside. And he goes, oh no, sorry, so we don't sell tickets inside anymore. You have to buy them online. And I'm like, oh, crap. And I pull out my phone and I'm looking and it's allocated time slots, 9, 10, 11, 12. I'm leaving Paris at 3:30. The next available time slot is 6 o'clock. Everything else is sold out. There is no tours. There are no groups. There is no VIP entry.
You did not plan ahead for this at all.
I did not plan ahead for it. And I'm 45 minutes of trying to hustle and I gave up. And I'm sitting there in the gutter watching all these people walk into the Louvre going, oh my God, I'm not getting into the Louvre. I'm not going to see the Mona Lisa. What the hell is going on? And then as I'm looking around, I notice all the tour groups are going into a separate entrance. And then I see a really big group of Japanese tourists. And I'm like, I got nothing to lose. Stuff it.
No,
I get up.
This did not happen.
walk over.
This did not happen.
I walk over.
Bullshit.
No, I walk over and I walk right in the middle of all these Japanese people, and they're looking at me like, what are you doing? And I'm like, shh, don't say that. They're like, what? Shh. And I'm walking with them and I'm staring at one because they're looking at me and they look the other way. I notice this with Japanese people. You look at them, they get nervous and look away.
Yeah.
So we walk around into this second entrance. The guard looks at me. Then he gets distracted by someone, turns around, but I've ducked by then. We walk through. We get through airport security. We go down the escalators and now I'm in the main foyer of the Louvre.
Can anyone else hear like Mission Impossible music going on in their head?
I'm like,
I really wish there was some way to validate this. I swear.
right, so I get downstairs and I'm like, okay, I'm down here. I turn around and the Japanese people are calling security guards over. And I'm like, crap. So I make haste and I'm dashing. And if
Haste. Oh my God.
if you've ever been to the Louvre, once you get past the security, the main foyer downstairs is huge, right? And then there's separate entrances to get into the actual museum itself.
Yeah.
So I'm like making the dash around the side. Security are talking to the Japanese people. There are French military patrolling with semi-automatic machine guns because of terrorism.
Yeah.
I'm running around with dark European tan skin and a beard, an overgrown beard, by the way. I had it shaved.
Does this sound like a movie to you?
I run over to the information booth and I grab the English map and I open it and I'm walking around like,
Oh my
like this,
God.
trying to cover my face from these security. And I'm like, I really need to do something quickly because I'm going to get busted here. And I look and I see two gates and one entrance has two staff working, but there's no one really there. It's quiet. But the second entrance has two guards working, two ticketing people, but there's like huge groups around that door. And I'm like, okay, logic tells me that must be where the Mona Lisa is because that's where the crowd's going. So I went that way and I pushed my way through the crowd and I got to the front and I go, excuse me. She's like, and the Americans that were there that I pushed out of the way were getting upset.
Yeah,
Well, we were here before you. You
they
can't
do
push
the
in front of
pushing.
us. What are you doing? I'm like, look, I've got an issue. And they're like getting really angry and narky and all
I've got
that.
an issue. I want to see the Mona Lisa.
And I
I don't have a ticket.
I go to the French lady. I go, excuse me. She goes, do you have a ticket? I go, no. She goes, well, how did you get down here then? And I've gone, I have a ticket. She goes, well, where is it? And I've gone, I don't have it. She goes, do you have a ticket or you don't have a ticket? I've gone, I have a ticket. It's in my email. I can't find it. She's gone, well, if you can't find your ticket, I can't let you in. And the people up behind me are getting upset and they're trying to walk around me, but I got my arm out. So I'm like holding them back. And they're like starting to push against me. I'm like, please, I'm dealing with an important issue here. I can't find my ticket. It's in my email. I don't know where it is.
Oh
She goes,
my
well, if you
God.
can't find your ticket, you're going to have to leave. But I go, no, I've got a ticket. I'm leaving Paris today at 3:30. And I got to, excuse me, I'm trying to deal with an issue here. I'm really sorry. And I'm like dealing with two entities at the same time. And I'm talking fast. And I look in the distance and I see that the security are looking for me now. They're walking around.
I think it's a mixture of Mission Impossible and Mr. Bean.
Yes, that's what I'm thinking about. That's exactly it, Mr. Bean. Oh my God.
So I'm fast talking to this lady, and I'm like, look,
Holy shit.
my missus back in Australia, bought the ticket, sent it to me via email. I can't seem to find her in my email. I'm calling her, but in Australia it's night. She's not answering her phone. I don't know what to do. I'm leaving Paris at 3:30. This is the only time I'm going to be able to get inside and see the Mona Lisa. Please let me inside. I've got a ticket, I promise you. Please, everyone, please, I'm trying to deal with an issue. Come on, please, I'm trying to deal with something. Look, everyone's getting upset. Can you like resolve this issue really quickly? And she's like getting so bamboozled, and I'm just talking faster and faster and faster.
You're talking fast.
And the
so she
French
gets-
guy next to her goes and says something in French, and then she goes, you got a ticket? I go, yes. She goes, just go in. And I got in.
Just get out of my face.
Go, just get the fuck away
I
from me.
run inside,
That's what
up
he
the
said. Just let him in.
I run up the stairs. I've gone inside, and straight away when I realised I was through, I pulled out my video and I made a recording and uploaded it onto Facebook. And I'm like,
Are you allowed to?
No, this was like just as I got in.
Oh.
And so I was all right. So then I'm inside, right?
It'd be funny if everyone's just lining up to go to the toilet.
Yeah. And it's just a toilet. And there's a past that English bloke there.
So I got to try and find this thing. I get inside, and I don't know if you've ever been to the Mona. I don't know where it is, but I'll upload it later.
Cool.
So when you see the Mona Lisa, right? It's a really big room, and they usher you in, like through one entrance. Then you all pile up, and then you got the Mona Lisa on the wall, surrounded in a glass case, and then about 4 meters away, there's like a roped fence
Yep.
with security and the Louvre staff. And you take your photos, they lift the fence, and then they usher you off to the left, and they tell you, no more photos, that's it. Put your cameras away. So I'm in the queue. I got the Mona Lisa there. I'm playing like Craig McLachlan. Oh, Mona. Oh, Mona. People looking at me going, who is this guy?
I get still got Mr. Bean in my head. I'm just waiting for him to fuck the painting up and then draw it.
I get to the front and I realize they're all ushering everyone to the left. So I start moving over to the right. I get my phone out and I activate the selfie mode. So it's facing me and I'm holding it to my chest like this. She lifts the fence up. We walk through. I quickly jump behind her. I get a selfie with the Mona Lisa. And then she yells out, "Hey, monsieur, give me your camera," and chases me around the corner. I go into the crowd and then I'm just like making my way through into the next room. I've lost her and I got a selfie with the Mona Lisa.
Can I just say you're a fucking nuisance? Can I just say that out loud? I feel sorry for these guys, man.
Don't you feel better about the fact he's not just a nuisance here? Just everywhere.
Like he's on a different level in like overseas.
I gotta get this. Yeah, look. Is it going to show?
No.
No.
Which camera?
Put it on the Dave camera.
Oh my god.
Hang on, it's coming.
Okay, that's me getting a selfie with Mona Lisa.
Wow, your beard was getting a bit out there, bro.
Hey, look at my hat. Ride fast, and I did.
You nuisance.
Oh, that's crazy. Hey,
Can I just send a shout out to all the staff at the Louvre? Sorry, if you're watching.
Nah, I'm happy to apologise. Hey, we're halfway through the show.
To be honest, we knew this was gonna happen.
Yeah, we did start a bit late. We haven't finished with you, Dave. Are we talking about Hard Island next?
Yes.
Let's have a breather, because
Yeah, please.
Michelle, if you can put on the Hard Island video, just so we can get a bit of backstory as to what Dave got up to. So this is Dave playing at Hard Island. So Dave, what did we just watch then?
So the first video.
Were you playing at both of those videos?
No, I did do 5 sets, and I have a story about one of them.
Of course you got a story. In fact, if you didn't, I'd be really, really worried.
The first video was from my pool party set, which was incredible because I've never DJ'd. Like for me, it was incredible. I've never DJ'd a pool party before.
Oh really?
And it was never. I did.
No, you did.
I did one once for Aladdin.
Yeah,
Eki
I
Thump,
remember.
but it was different. Like it was almost like a mate's party. It didn't even feel like a proper thing.
Yeah.
This was a proper event. They had foam machines and.
I don't like foam machines. Just saying.
Why?
You can't see where you're going. Everything's freaking slippery.
It's not that bad.
I just feel like I was gonna die. I'm claustrophobic. So.
Where did you go to film party?
HID and
Magaluf?
No, the one before that.
In the sun.
Hang on. What was is Magaluf where HCOD is
Yeah.
now? Nah, Lorette Demar.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Where it used to be. Back
Oh,
in the day.
okay, yeah.
But they had wooden floors and stuff, right?
Do you know what soapy water does to wooden floors?
Yeah, I know, but that's what
Yeah,
I'm saying.
yeah.
Like, at a pool
No.
party, it's cool.
Oh, at a pool party, yeah, okay. Yeah,
The second one was also a pool party. I emceed at that pool party with Jared Riddle, and Riddle also emceed at the first of the Noah one.
Yep.
So the first one was at the Noah nightclub. The second one was at
Calypso?
no, not Calypso. I can't
The
remember.
new one.
Yeah, the new one. I'll remember the name later. But mate, the venues in Zerk Beach are second to none. They're brilliant. But I got a story.
Alex says that you're on the French government watch list.
Mate, when he tries to go back to France, denied.
it like next time you go over to Europe, it's like, oh, what are you here for? DEFCON, oh, DEFCON. All of a sudden, Interpol comes out.
All you hear is,
And there's two French people. You got to stay.
they're working at customs now.
I spit on your baguettes. No, so it was my fault because I didn't download the Hard Island app, right? The Hard Island app was how they communicated with everyone. They let everyone know the timetables and information and news. It was really good app.
Yeah, it made sense if you had it.
Yeah, I didn't have it. I'm an idiot. This is me. And I didn't tell the promoter what time I was flying in. They assumed I was flying in during the day, but when I was actually flying in at 9:30 that night.
Oh, I love the story.
So I'm in Geneva at the airport, and I get a message from Jared going, "Hey, you're DJing tonight." I'm like, "No, I'm DJing tomorrow at the pool party." He goes, "No, you're DJing tonight at the pre-party as well." I'm there going, "Am I?" He goes, "Yeah, they've just announced it. Check your Facebook." Because my internet was like in and out.
Yeah.
Then I realized there was messages there on my Dave PSI account, but I don't go on that account anymore. I'm always on my Zuckerberg one.
Oh no.
So I'm like, oh my God, holy crap. I messaged them, what time am I playing? And they're like, midnight. I'm like, I don't get in till 9:30. And they go, plenty of time. So Zeta, I've never been to Croatia before. Obviously.
No, that's just the attitude in Croatia. Don't worry, you'll be fine.
All right, I'm getting there, right? So I get into Zeta Airport at 9:30. I need to be no later than 10:30 in a car heading to Novalja because it's an hour and a half to get there, right? And I hadn't organized how I was going to wing it. I was like, oh, I'll wing it. I'll be right. So
Tell me you didn't.
I was supposed to land at 9:30. By the time we landed was like 22. So I'm already 10 minutes late. By the time we got out of the plane and onto the tarmac was 10 to 10. Yeah. They weren't letting anyone move because 3 other planes had landed and we were all stuck there on the tarmac. And I'm like, oh crap. It's getting really thin on time. I got 40 minutes now to get in a cab. 40 minutes should be okay. I'll make it. I walk around the corner. There is about 600 people trying to get through customs, and there's only 4 customs people working, and they're Croatian and they're taking their time. And I'm like, this is not going to happen. My internet was dropping in and out, and I'm trying to message the promoters going, look, I'm not going to make it. And they're like, look, just do your best. We're going to have another DJ playing. So AJ from Brisbane was playing. He goes, and once you get there, take over. I'm like, okay, sweet. By the time I got out of the airport with my suitcase, it was 11 o'clock.
So you got 1 hour to get to your set.
Which takes an hour and a half. And I'm like, this is not going to happen. I call an Uber.
Yeah, you probably said the same thing about taking a selfie with a Mona Lisa too. So anything's possible, right?
I get an Uber, which cost me 750 krona, which is 165 Australian dollars. And I get in the Uber and I go to the guy, dude, I have to be at Kokomo's in Novalja by midnight. He's gone, oh, you're going to be late. I'm like, yeah, just do your best. He goes, yeah, no worries. We get on the freeway. The limit is 90 Ks an hour. The window is down. He's driving with one arm while smoking a cigarette, doing 180 kilometers an hour. And I'm there holding the Jesus handle going, I'm not going to make it. I'm going to die instead. And guess what? I was 5 minutes late.
That's insanity.
180.
Like to the stage too.
That's sick.
It's mental.
It's one thing I love about Croatian people. No matter what happens, they'll make it happen.
Yeah, man.
And they don't give a fuck. Like That's pretty cheap. $160 from the Zadar to Navalia.
Oh man.
Well, he didn't spend long in the cab in the year though. Like, he was clearly fanging it.
Oh mate. And he was trying to sell me other places to go to. Like he was the Croatian travel center.
Yep.
And I'm like, dude, don't talk to me. Just focus on the road. Can you please stop smoking as well? Actually, I think I need a smoke. I don't smoke, but I need a smoke. I'm going to die. I might as well start now. I can't get lung cancer if I die in a couple of minutes.
But you did?
No, but I didn't die. But I got to Kokomo's and the club was pumping. Mate, it was rammed. We got in there. We played our thing. Jared was emceeing. I jumped out and emceed with him a bit. AJ ended up staying and doing the whole set with me. We riffed off each other. The set was crazy. It went down really well.
It definitely appears like the Aussies really smashed it over there, eh?
Mate, massive shout out to... look, I don't want to alienate anyone, but 4 people for me...
I was going to say you've really turned over a new leaf since going over to...
Well,
I knew there was a butt coming. Yeah. No. I don't want to alienate anyone, but...
Well, it's so hard. Like, when you're friends with everyone...
Yeah, I actually get where you're coming from.
It's so hard to say, oh, look, everyone did really well. Because everyone did do really well. But there were 4 Aussies that I reckon we should all be really proud of. There's 5, right?
He just put himself in the list.
No, I'm not on the list. There's 5, right? There's 5. Yeah. But one is Sway. He really, like, head and shoulders. That guy is a pillar to the Australian community. Yep. He was sensational.
I don't think he gets enough recognition.
He was amazing. Like, I've known Sway like for years, like probably 25 plus years, 30 years, whatever it is.
Sorry.
It's like a long time.
Keep that on the low, bro. Just say a long time.
A long time.
Don't pay the man a compliment.
Don't say how long. Just say long.
I know him a long time.
To get away with that, yeah, you do.
But the other 4 guys, which I'm going to give credit to, especially the first one, I got to give massive raps to Jared, MC Riddle. He was not booked for anything. He showed his talent at Kokomo's, and they literally went up to him, and they even came up to me several times and said, he is really good. We're going to give him heaps more work. And he was outstanding on every stage. He was seriously impressive. Like when you're up on stage with your mate, you're just up there with your mate. You're not really looking at what they're doing or whatever. Yeah. But he was like incredible. He did really, really well. The other 3 guys, Tim Dawes, he was great. He was great. He DJ'd after me at Kokomo's and he was stellar. He had that room frothing. It was great. Yeah. And he played after me again at the Noah Beach party, at the pool party, sorry. And I was doing my best because they weren't really a UK hardcore crowd. But I had them going. But when Tim came in, he really elevated. Yeah. And he really brought quality. It was really good. Yep. But the other 2 guys...
I want to have Tim in the show.
Yeah, Tim's please. Great. I love that guy.
I want to interview him. I think he's
really humble. He's a really nice guy. He's actually really good DJ.
I think along with Sway, he's what, like, I mean, you talk about there are certain people that are sort of iconic and like symbols of Australian hardstyle, and he's one of them.
Yeah. The 2 guys that I'm going to name next, I think they always did great sets when I watched them at Massive. The first time I ever saw them play was at Hard Island on the Gold Coast. I'd never seen them before. And it was at the boat party. And then I saw them later at the club. And I'm like, oh, these guys are decent, but they're young. You just look at young guys and you're like, yeah, young DJs, they're decent. Yeah. But I saw a lot of them at Hard Island and they're outstanding. And those 2 were Mo Tozer and Christian Payson. They were exceptional. Yep. Like, really exceptional. Every set they played, the room was rammed.
Yeah, like, I've seen a few videos of their sets, actually.
Yeah. They killed it. They were so good. They did... Me and Joey Wright played back-to-back on the boat party, and then they took that boat party next level when they came on after us. And it was quite humbling to have young guys do that straight after us. And me and Joey are quite seasoned performers. And Joey Wright, for me right now, is the most entertaining performer on stage.
Yeah, he is.
He's the only other person I can compare him to would probably be Malorka Lee from Ultrasonic. just another guy that is so lively on stage that just makes you dance.
Yeah.
Like Malok Ali's my idol. I always looked up to him and Joey Wright as well. And those two boys just like hands down, they were brilliant.
And Walker's playing in Sydney soon too, isn't he?
Who?
Fantasia.
Yeah, Fantasia,
Yeah,
which we're going to. We're going to that.
mate. Malok Ali's incredible. I think it's the last time he's performing in Australia. He's gonna give up the.
Hanging up the headphones.
Yeah,
Really?
I think so. Yeah.
But has he still been performing now or no?
He doesn't perform as much as he used to. He does his things over in the UK, and he does DJ around. He's an artist, so he does a lot of painting and stuff. His stuff's really good. I think. Don't quote me. Wait for Mainstage to announce everything, or Aladdin Entertainment. But Rod Richards, sorry.
Aladdin
Richards.
Entertainment.
Yeah, sorry.
I haven't heard that one. Aladdin Entertainment.
But
Bring back Eki Thump, Rod.
but Malok Ali for me is like an idol. So Joey Wright on stage is on par, and the boys were great. But Hard Island itself, Tale of Two Stories. I will be there 100% next year. No matter what I have to do, I will allocate money now to make sure I'm there next year. And DEF CON as well, I will do the same thing again. It's worth it. It's worth it. It's incredible. A lot of the issues that I personally found was to do with the cashless thing they tried.
That was a big gripe from a lot of people, I
But
heard.
they got to understand as well that HSU tried it as well.
Yeah.
It's not just the Hard Island thing. It's not like the guys at Hard Island were running that whole thing. There was a separate organisation. They were getting frustrated with it as well.
So what was the difference between having cash and having that cashless bracelet?
The cashless bracelet meant you didn't have to walk around with cash. And when you're in Europe, there's a lot of pickpockets.
That's become a really big thing in the Europe rave scene at the moment, is pickpockets. Especially with the tear gas.
Yeah.
Like people throwing tear gas into the crowd, and the whole purpose of that is everyone panics and runs away. And while they're doing that, that's when the pickpockets really attack, because people are just trying to get away from, choking to death and whatever.
Well, 200 phones were stolen at DEF CON NL.
Yeah, I'm gonna do a story on Hinge about some of the
Yeah.
So they're gangs. This is organised.
It's gypsies.
It's organised crime.
I don't want to pick on gypsies, but I don't think they got internet to watch the show, so that's all right.
Fuck me, man. Dude, you can't say that.
Come at me, gypsies.
After the show, I'll be giving everyone Dave's home address.
Showing his live location.
But they're trying. Like a lot of HSU tried. Like why people are not going to attack HSU for trying?
Well,
They do, and that's a thing. When you pay for a service, you expect it.
Yeah.
So if you're promised one thing and another thing happens,
Well,
and I understand that, but at the same time, I mean that was the thing I was trying to wrap my head around. Like I can understand you don't want to carry cash, but you still need to carry cash.
Well, it was an option. You still could buy alcohol
Okay.
with money. Some bars wouldn't accept the card, but this is not. So, okay, just to put everything in perspective, right? Zerk Beach is owned by one company. This one company owns the whole beach frontage and the car park and the accommodation on site, and they own all 7 nightclubs on it.
yes.
And all the food outlets. So it's almost like attacking HSU for something that the showgrounds do,
Yeah.
right? When you look at the issues at Hard Island with accommodation, but that's the accommodation. They don't own those houses. They're dealing with agencies in Croatia that are trying to help them place people, and they can only trust what these agencies are telling them, and they're working hard to try and make them happen.
But I understand that, but you got to understand it from a consumer perspective.
Oh.
If you're paying for a service, you expect it. You don't care who it is.
Yeah.
And that's no different. That's no different to HSU. It's no different to Hard Island. It's no different to anybody. So if you're going to advertise for this, that's what people expect, and I think that's what people have an issue with.
Yeah.
Is that I paid for this and I'm getting this.
Yeah, so it's a supplier issue, right? But to be fair, it wasn't across the board. It wasn't everyone. And even people that didn't even organise accommodation through the Hard Island themselves were having issues as well, because you got to remember it's Croatia.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not Australia. You're walking down the street and there's like a random ATM in the street on its own.
Yep.
The next shop, few doors down, is selling pizza slices and beer. You don't even need to show ID.
You
There,
gotta take with the good with the bad with that kind of.
it's just different.
It's it's no different when you go overseas. You do your research.
You
have
pay.
to, you
People were
have to do your
complaining that
research.
they had to pay to use the toilets, but welcome to Europe. I went to Italy and France, and they weren't nightclubs; they were just the street, and you were paying for toilets there too.
Yeah, I got screwed up by that the first time I went to England, which was really hard. I didn't carry I hate carrying coins around. And then one of the locals just was like, "Only tourists pay, mate. You just jump over the thing." And I'm like, "Yeah." When I think about it, there's no one really there to stop you do anything else, is there? And they're like, "Only tourists pay,
What are you
mate.
gonna jump over?
Just jump over." Well, in England, I don't know about Croatia because I've not been to Croatia before, but in England, they're just like turnstile.
Yeah.
They just jump over them. It's not like there's a security guard at some random freaking toilet in a park,
Well,
making you sure you charge
in
your,
Rome-
pay your 5p or whatever goes on.
In Italy and France, they actually have staff there making sure everyone pays.
Oh wow,
But aren't they also there like
the cleaners.
yeah, well, they're there with towels and fragrances and
No,
soaps.
that's hotels. These people just sit there and take money off you while you go in and piss on someone else's piss.
okay. That's
They're just collecting money
Yeah,
because it's the way it is there. It's not Australia. It's just different.
yeah.
I mean, Italy itself is such a poor country that the whole place is almost third. Some places in Italy are third world. Only cities like Venice, Sorrento, Rome, where all the tourist money is coming in, I think in Milan, they spend money on renovating and cleaning and maintaining. But I went to Naples and it felt like I was in the ghetto. Rubbish was everywhere on the floor. The buildings were like falling apart. But Hard Island, Croatia, the actual facilities were great. I think only one of the stages had issues with sound, but that was an issue across the board. They managed to fix it on the second last day. The rest of the venues, if they were here in Australia, they would be marquee venues.
Yeah, of course.
They would be venues that everyone would be going to every week. You saw footage from two of them, quality venues, like better than some of the nightclubs we have here. The jugs, you can buy jugs there and get absolutely blotto.
It's very cheap. Over time, it's not so cheap, but like the thing is, it's one of the best. It's one of the best things you can do. And I like when I went last year, I loved it. Like there's no atmosphere like it. The night parties are phenomenal. The boat parties are awesome. And even just chilling around with your mates. That's probably, to me, that was half the fun. It was just being most of the accommodation had pools, and you could just chill around them with partying with random people from all over the world, and you're just having a beer with them, just chilling around the pool. Like Croatia's one of my favorite countries.
Yeah, it was great. It was brilliant.
All right. Can we? Are we kind of done with Europe for now? What
Yeah,
we got
yeah.
left?
No,
Yeah?
definitely. Yeah.
We'll come back to it because we're just going to move on to some other things.
All in all,
Yeah.
right, I would put my Hard Island experience up there with DEF CON.
Yeah.
Completely different experiences,
Yeah.
but just as good as each other.
And definitely worth doing.
Mate,
Doing
if
again.
you can do the dirty double and then even squeeze in Dominator or Free Festival, you're cheering.
Well, Dominators, that just happened?
Yeah.
That's a fair stretch. I know Jared and Natalie are going from DEF CON to Holland and
No, they've just done Dominator. They're in
and
Thailand
then
now. Yeah.
yeah, and then that's
I
a
know
long.
you got Fatality this week as well.
Oh, man, you know.
Well, what an awkward name for it. I don't. That's one brand that's
Yeah.
never coming to Sydney.
Oh, hey, HCID did.
A fatality.
No, I said HCID.
Well,
no, yeah, but he's saying, can you imagine if there was an event here called
yeah,
Fatality?
called Fatality. Yeah. It's screw all the news people. No, let's not go there. 'Cause, we're going to talk about drugs a little bit later on the show, but I think next we're going to do a little bit of talk about what Dee's been up to with Unhinged and doing some interviews and so forth. But what we're going to cut to now and just have a little bit of a breather is a little story that you shared on your Facebook about being overseas and some of the dangers faced. So let's go to that. We'll be back in about 2 minutes.
nights that I was there, I went to a restaurant to have a meal, and after I ate, I left and I walked outside and I was a little lost, and I pulled out my phone and I'm like concentrating on my phone trying to type in the name of the hotel so I could use the GPS to Google Map my way home, and some guy bumped into me and I'm like looking at him a bit startled, and it's just like an Italian guy around my size, and he starts swearing at me in Italian, and I'm like, what the fuck? You're like, I'm just here on the footpath. I wasn't even moving, and he's bumped into me. But I instinctively went for my bag, my shoulder bag, because since I've been traveling like through France, through Belgium, especially in Italy, you're constantly reminded, be careful of pickpockets, be careful of pickpocketers. A lot of dodgy people on the street. You got to like be mindful, and I'm like, paranoid. And so straight away I went for my bag, and I'm looking at him like this, and he's swearing at me, and he starts staunching a little bit. And if this was back in Sydney, that guy would be fucking face down on the concrete. But I'm here in another country. I'm constantly getting told, be careful. I mean, even when I got to the hotel, they said to me, we'll tell you which streets to walk down, which ones not to walk down. They were pretty adamant to be careful. So I was already on high alert, and straight away I went into flight mode. So I start walking away, and I'm still trying to find in the phone like where I'm supposed to go, and I get about a block away, and I turn around and I realize the guy's following me, and I'm like, why is this guy following me? So I start to pick up my pace and I start fast walking, and I change direction. I'm going down different streets. I'm about 2.5 blocks away, and I turn around and the guy is still following me. It's like around 3.5 blocks, this guy's following me, and he's looking at me and he's giving me greasies, and I don't know what the fuck is going on. I don't know whether he's just brave or this is organized. I don't know how many, I'm freaking out now. And I see a really huge group of tourists, because some of the streets are so rammed full of tourists, it's not funny. So I see a big group of tourists, and I quickly run over and I get amongst them, and I start to move around, and I get around a corner and I look, and I see him looking for me. He's looking for me, and I'm like, holy shit, it wasn't just my mind, he really was following me. And I'm like, holy fuck. And I just make haste, down. I ended up going half an hour the wrong way to loop around to try and get back to where I was, because I knew the hotel wasn't far from there. And all the same time, my phone is running out of power, and I'm freaking out thinking I'm not going to get to a good location to Google Map the hotel and then be able to use the GPS and have enough power to make my way back to the hotel. But I did. I got back. I'm sweet. My heart was pounding. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I'm like, I'm not going out again tonight. I'm like, thank God tomorrow I'm heading back home. No, I'm heading to Rome, sorry. So it was a bit of a freaky experience. And yeah, it's so weird. The way I would be back home as opposed to being over here overseas, it's really, really you're more weary and stuff. Yeah, so that was a little story I thought I'd share. Today I'm heading off to Naples, like I said, then off to Pompeii, Sorrento, and then back home. So I'll try and upload more videos later.
Oh,
We're back.
Hey, welcome back, everybody.
Hello.
Hey, a nice cap there.
yeah. Thank you.
A nice cap there.
Oh, nice cap, bro.
I think we're all doing pretty well on the caps.
This is the one that I wore at DEF CON. It's got Australia written on it. I don't know if you can see.
Where'd you get it from?
Oh no! Go to the Dave camera.
You
Go and
come-
keep up, producer.
It's one of them. Oh, there you go.
Hey.
It's got Australia on the front.
So you had the Australian flag and the Australian cap on.
Yeah. I'm an Aussie. What can I say?
Hey,
You know you're Aussie when you walk up and you're talking to someone and they're like, I'm sorry, I can't understand you. I need to get someone else. And I'm like,
What?
I don't speak that freaking bogan, do I?
no, I've
Oh, shit, maybe I do.
at DEF CON in Holland, I've had a 25-minute conversation with a Scottish guy who was absolutely off his head. I could not understand a single word that he said.
To be fair, it's like when I talk to Joey. It's like, Joey, just give me a sec. Go back to the phrase before.
Joey's pretty good though. Like,
No, really?
yeah, no, even just to understand. He's,
If you get like a WhatsApp message from him,
it's not like he's been in a porno or anything. So.
no, but when you get like a WhatsApp message from him, and I just got
well
that.
played.
When you get a WhatsApp message from him and you don't understand it, you're gonna send it to everybody else. Say, do you know what he's saying? Just goes around, but anyway.
I want to make a porno.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you already made one in Europe.
I've already heard your idea for this, and let's keep that off YouTube. We'll keep that for the Patreon members.
Sign up
Exclusive
to-
video after the show.
Sign up to my.
Porn's gonna be the exclusive video.
Fuck it, why not? Hey, D, you've been a little bit busy lately, doing something really cool. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so last weekend was able to sit down with Regain for a quick interview. It's something that we've discussed previously, and it's something that I really wanted to do. Only because I think there's a side to a lot of artists that people don't get to see.
Yep.
And also just to get some background in terms of the history, just to get Australian audiences, if they don't know a lot about the artist, just get them more knowledgeable.
Yeah.
So it was really cool to sit down with Regain last week. Big shout out to ESI for letting us have a quick interview with the man. And shout out to Luke, who isn't here.
Oh, well, I didn't invite him. I thought about it.
You didn't.
and I was like, oh, I was on last week.
Yeah, so it was really good to sit down with him and talk about Aussie crowds and whatnot.
Yeah, I've quickly edited like a preview of it because I haven't edited the whole thing yet. Michelle, if you could put that on for us. That was not the preview at all.
What the hell was that?
That was a video that Michelle took of me sleeping and snoring. I took all the snoring out of it. And I can't believe you played that. What the hell?
It would have been mad if she would have been mad if she dubbed your snoring with "not bad."
Not bad.
Good size, 2 seconds in.
It was, but because it was so dark in there, and she had the light on, the torch on the phone, and so I've woken up and all I could see was this bright light in my face. I just went,
He's like,
"Smack!"
oh my god, Area 51 man.
It's like shit. They broke into area. Wait, this is Area 51.
So yeah, that obviously wasn't the preview of the interview that we did with Regain at all. We do have that lined up, but before we go to it, I just got to give you a lot of credit for this because like I've been trying to tee up little interviews with international artists for pretty much since Unhinged sort of come about. And like I've not had a lot of luck. Obviously we've got Minus the Crown in and a few people, but you and Luke just took this on your own because like I was off last weekend and you guys just organised everything. I thought it was really sick and you guys pulled it off. It was awesome. And let's actually play the actual preview of the interview.
Hey guys, Fourth Let MCT here, and I'm joined by the one and only, the legend of Raw Style, the one and only Regain.
Hello.
Firstly, welcome to Sydney, mate. Your Australian tour kicked off with shows in Melbourne and Brisbane last night. How were they?
Yeah, it was very good. Like show in Melbourne was sold out. The crowd was perfect. Brisbane was a little bit smaller, but it was very cozy and nice with a lot of crazy people.
Yeah.
Very nice organization. I think Brisbane is growing a lot with Raw Style. Same with Melbourne, you know. I played there like 2 or 3 years ago. It was a nice small party, and this time there was like a few hundred people.
Yeah.
So you see that scene in Australia is growing, and you have a really good crowd.
Yeah.
So take care of this crowd. Don't spoil them, you know.
Yeah.
Just work.
What do you think about the difference between then and now, how Raw Style is going in Australia?
It's definitely growing here compared to like 3 years ago, 2 years ago. It's way better. It's really growing, and I think there is still a lot of people who are working really well on the new concepts and new parties to make it big. You know, we'll be like, oh my god, again regain in Australia.
So today you've got ESI and
Yeah.
Massive in Sydney,
Yes.
and a lot of us. I mean, you just smashed ESI, and
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
how was it?
No, it was perfect. Really, like the crowd here is very sick. You know, I don't want to compare them to Dutch crowd or something like that because every crowd is specific.
Yeah.
Thank you very much that I can be a part of this club, you know, this edition, and thank you very much for your dedication. Mwah, mwah. Thank you. You are watching Unhinged TV.
Okay, now just in the event that Regain actually watched that,
Yeah, I think you need to say something, bro.
So I'm very new to editing, so I'm picking up a few tricks along the way here, and I thought a few things were funny, and in my head they were funnier than what they came out on the video there. So that obviously is very edited down, and the full interview, which goes for about 15 odd minutes, will play in sort of its entirety. So yeah, like. The bit when he was like, no, yeah, Regain again, it's taken totally out of context.
So just to reiterate, this was a very heavily edited sneak peek.
Well, I had one night to edit the video because I only got it the day before. Yesterday? Did I get it yesterday? The day before. And I don't really know what I'm doing. Essentially, I didn't have enough to I can do it. I just need a bit more time to polish that up, and we'll do it properly and put it up online. But that is something I'm really excited about doing. And like your questions in your interview are pretty on point, like because you know what the people want. Because I think part of the thing when you're asking questions is the questions you want to know the answers to as well.
Yeah.
And like his answer about his favorite track and all that sort of stuff, which spoilers. My bad. He's just really nice. He's seems like one of the nicest. And I thought he was Dutch. And is he Polish?
He's Polish.
Yeah.
So he's one of the nicest and most humble guys. And we're very very lucky to get I guess the ability to do interviews to do an interview with him.
Yeah.
The thing that I'm most excited about is that we are looking to do this a lot more.
Yeah.
But to everybody watching on YouTube, I actually want to get more of your involvement. And when I say that is I would love to hear whatever questions that you have that you would like to ask your favorite DJ. So I'll probably tee this up with you after, but I'll let you know what DJs we're actually going to interview.
Yeah, that's...
and we'll put something up on Unhinged to say, guys, look, we've got this interview coming up with etc. etc. What if you could ask them a question? What would it be?
Maybe what we could do is we could get people to send videos of them asking the questions. Then we'll pick one and we'll show that video to whatever relevant DJ it is, and then we'll splice that all together.
Yeah, exactly. But ideally for me, I would like to do that because it would be cool because there may be questions I may not think about. But it's good it would be good to get them to do it as well.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Like I love how humble some of the artists are, like Headhunters and that. And
I don't know if you're being sarcastic.
I think.
And now I know you're not being sarcastic.
Did you see his lips moving?
Because when David's being serious, you can't tell if he's being serious or not. But yeah, so I'm excited about
good wholesome, interview good wholesome people like Kane.
Fuck.
Hey X.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Do you mean Kane from GPF Kane?
Yeah.
That
Mate, they love him in Europe, eh?
Who loves who?
The Europeans love
Kane.
GPF.
See, I was going to talk about this on tonight's show, especially because Tomorrowland's happening pretty much right now, isn't it?
It's
the second
finished
weekend.
already. Oh yeah.
The first weekend's finished.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and the Tweakers sort of finished off their set with a GPF track.
It goes off. People just love it.
Really? Because when you look at the crowd shots from the event, it's
From Tomorrowland?
yeah.
That's Tomorrowland, man.
But this
Everywhere else, people
Yeah.
love it. But again, I think the great thing with Jatweakers is that they, I know Kuhn played last year, but they're bringing hardstyle and a different kind of hardstyle
Yeah.
to what people know, and they're more accessible because of their music as well.
Yeah.
In terms of Let It Go, in terms of all the other tracks that they've done remixes of. Which is why they're so loved, because it's not just a particular brand of hardstyle. It's just, for me, they are one of the best ambassadors when it comes to hardstyle, because they are for me, they're the epitome of what hardstyle is about. Just good fun,
yeah, they're a bit crazy.
and they're a bit crazy. They're a lot crazy.
They're a lot crazy.
They're a lot crazy. But I mean, if we look at Tomorrowland, there was so much hardstyle played on the main stage. There was a lot.
Like a lot. I actually started getting really confused at what event I was watching. Because I think, like I said, last year, there was only really one hardstyle act. Was there on Tomorrowland main stage? On the main stage?
Kuhn was the only hardstyle. So it was the same
Yeah.
as last year. Kuhn was the only hardstyle act there, but unfortunately for him, the guy who played before him was Timmy Trumpet, who played a 80% hardstyle set.
Yeah, that's another one. And he played, I seen a video where he played, you know that music video where there's those weird guys going,
Vitus.
yeah.
I just saw that video. I'm just like, what?
I
the
seen that
fuck
right
is
before the
going
show, and I
on?
was like, "What is happening? Like,
Yeah.
is that the same guy?"
Yeah.
Which I
Look,
think it was. But
There's a song that just got released by D Block and Estefano. Hardstyle is world renowned. It's the universal sound.
Yeah, hardstyle. Right
It
now.
really is.
yeah,
Everyone knows it.
Yep. It's. I think it's gotten to that point where hardstyle is well up there in terms of any other genre.
Yeah.
Hardstyle. I mean, we all know that it's been kind of looked down as a toy genre. Oh, it's only for kids. But now we're seeing a lot more people enjoy it because of its energy, and a lot more people are getting into the culture that is hardstyle, because they're sick of all the fake tits and everything being about the money and all this fucking imagery, and they just want to have fun. And they see hardstyle that it's that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And that's a great thing that now we're bringing that hardstyle culture is going throughout the world, and people are jumping on board. For me, it's cool to see, because majority of people have been welcoming, because it's like, well, come and join our family. Like,
Well, it's like I said before. Most people around the world are not putting people into pockets on a shelf.
yeah,
Hardstyle is all these genres, like raw style and all that, is all hardstyle.
yep.
And hardcore is the sister or the brother of hardstyle.
Yep.
So people are just like seeing it all as one big family, one big thing.
Yep.
And it's just here in Australia that we put it in pockets, you know? And that's why you get, like, there was so much UK hardcore played at DEF CON NL, which actually surprised me. A lot of DJs were playing UK hardcore in their sets. I walked past one of the stages and there was a guy, half the set was UK hardcore and was going off.
Yep.
We heard a bit of it on the main stage, like French cores getting played everywhere, and
Yep.
it's just music. Like people, music.
I think that mentality needs to be celebrated in terms of just let it be hardstyle. It doesn't, just because someone likes a certain style doesn't mean that they don't like other styles. Like, you let people like what they want to like, and there doesn't need to be this sort of divisiveness.
I think
I think
it's.
subgenres are still okay though.
I'm pretty sure.
Like there's a reason that helps streamline, like whether you're looking for a certain type of music or an event that's specialized. Like look at DEF CON, yeah, they have stages pretty much that do exactly that.
Yeah, but in saying that, DJs are playing whatever in their sets now because they're producing whatever they want.
Yeah.
Yeah, so instead of being genre specific, it's.
Well, Timmy Trumpet's a prime example of that, isn't
They're
it?
all doing it now. Look at Darren Styles.
Tiesto as well.
But I mean, let's take two off the top. So you got Timmy Trumpet and you got Ben Nicky. These guys kind of play to whatever country they're in.
Yeah.
I know when Ben Nicky comes to Australia, it's a predominantly hardstyle set because he'll outrightly he'll outrightly say it that Australia loves hardstyle. But in others, it's more so. But when he goes back to Ireland, or when he goes or wherever, it's predominantly sort of hard trance, hard tech trance. Timmy Trumpet is just has been just banging hardstyle for the past couple of years now. So we've gone from DJs playing a specific genre to playing whatever's hot, and I can appreciate that. It's still fun.
Yeah. No.
Well, I know with me as a DJ, I used to always class myself as a UK hardcore DJ, and I'm pretty sure I'm at the point where I don't even know if I can call myself that anymore. I'm definitely more of a freestyle DJ, because I know
I would concur with that.
I would just say harder styles.
Yeah, you're a
Yeah.
chameleon, man. You can pretty much play
well,
anything.
my 3 sets in Croatia were all completely different. The one I played in Kokomo's was very much party tracks. The one I did at Noah was very much more UK donk, and then I went into hardcore. And the one I did on the boat party was more power stomp, and definitely hardstyle remixes. They're all very different sets.
I guess that's in part due to the time you're playing as well, right?
Well, just because I play to the crowd.
Obviously you're reading the crowd as
I'm
well.
playing what's in front of me, but most people are the same, you know, and it's better that way because you're not listening to the one thing and it's constantly being repeated.
I think we're past that now. I think playing sort of the one sort of genre. I think hardstyles evolved to the point where it's people expect you to play 3 or 4 different genres. Whether it be you start off with euphoric, you go to raw, and you end up with a UK hardcore track, or vice versa.
So just a quick story.
Just one.
I'm
Just one for this show.
I'm emceeing on at Hard Island at the Rocks, right? And I'm emceeing for Restyle, and just freaking Restyle, man. Like I was nervous as hell, and I'm up the front, and I'm just trying to hype the crowd up. Not that you really need to. It's Restyle. The party's going mental, and it's wall to wall. And in one of the breakdowns, it got really quiet, and I yelled out, "Make some noise, Hard Island, Australia!"
Oh, someone mentioned that in the comments earlier.
And I'm like, "Hey!" Oh, that didn't go down well. I turned around, and Dither turns to me and goes, "You said Australia, man." I go, "No, I didn't." He goes, "Yeah, you did." And then AJ comes running over, he goes, "Oh, I got it on video, you said Australia." I'm like, "Oh my God, I want to kill myself right now."
AJ, if you're watching this, I need that video. I'll make that an ad.
But can I just say, Lady Damage?
Jesus Christ!
Do you need a moment alone?
Please.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
She's there DJing like this and just smoking with the other hand. And I'm just looking at her going, "Oh my God."
You're just looking at her not being creepy or anything like that.
Oh, yeah, I got to MC. Yeah, make some noise for Lady Damage.
Someone yells out, "Put your pants back on, Dave." Oh dear.
I got nothing.
Ruler is still the prettiest DJ out there, don't worry.
Oh, you reckon?
Only love, no hate.
Mate, I love him. He's the best. Like,
Yeah,
seriously, Chris Ruler.
You're pretty tight with Ruler, aren't you?
Well, I'm not tight with him. Like, we talk and
I
stuff.
feel like you guys get along like a house on fire.
Well, I got to know him and Sefa when they were out here last
Yeah.
for, what was it, HCRD? And, mate, they're both hilarious. I love them both. But Chris is like, he's next level hilarious, eh?
He's one of the guys that I really want to interview.
yeah.
Only because the last time that he was here, we had a mad conversation again, and yeah, he's really really down to earth, but also he has a big respect for hardstyle. When I
Yeah.
say big respect, I mean he appreciates and respects those who came before, in terms of like Headhunters, D Block and Estefan, Techno Boy, Tune Boy, all these guys. They were his idols.
Yeah.
And for me, it was cool to hear that because, and it was cool to hear his story of how they found this raw niche sound, and where it's got them where it's got them today.
Well, you know, when he was here in Australia, they did like a little meetup, and underneath the bridge down in Darling Harbour, and we all went down, and
They look like mad fun.
it was mad. I helped them like with organising the crowd and stuff, and getting the music, and because it was like a little.
He was having a little. It was like a shuffle meetup, but for hackers.
It was totally disorganised, but it was just like such a random thing.
Yeah.
And Chris got up and started shuffling. Not shuffling.
French jumping.
I can't remember what it's called.
Hacking?
Not hacking. My brain is fried. I'm so jet lagged right now.
Yeah, jet lag.
But he started dancing, and he was incredible.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh my god, dude!
Not Melbourne Shuffle.
No, jump style.
Yeah.
I just said jump style.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That jump style.
Thanks, Steve.
Thanks.
Yeah, but apparently he used to be in the jump style cruise back in Italy or whatever, and he was sick. He was mad, and he gets in with everyone. I've got video of Sefa hacking, trying to hack, and he's like, delete that, don't show anyone. And I'm like, don't worry, bro, I won't show no one.
Next minute.
I'm gonna need that video too.
Hey, I sympathize because I can't hack.
No, I'm gonna like when I release my next song, I'm gonna chop it to make it look like he's hacking to my song.
Why not?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, no. Back to humble DJs like Headhunters,
Oh no.
the most humblest guy on the planet.
I reserve the right to say nothing at all.
Say nothing.
Hey, we're gonna take.
Put your shirt on, mate.
He does need to put his shirt on. Like, I understand. You're ripped. I've got it. Put your shirt on.
Guys are the only
I'm
one
working on it.
Guys are the only one complaining.
You're making us look bad, brother.
We're going to have a quick break, and then we're going to talk about our last little topic for tonight, which is, of course, the ongoing inquest into drugs at festivals, which will probably tie into a lot of what we were talking about earlier with DEF CON as well. So here's a little piece before we get into that for those who need to catch up on what's been going on in the last couple of weeks.
The organiser of DEF CON 1 in Western Sydney told the inquest that it was a freak situation. 2 people had lost their lives at his event. Addressing the court, Simon Coffey said that the whole company was shocked worldwide. It has marked me. Joseph Pham and Diana Nguyen died after taking MDMA at the event near Penrith in 2018. The court heard 2 other people had died at that festival in previous years, and they had lost the venue as a result. Future events cancelled or on hold. Mr. Coffey said he had no input into the number or level of experience of doctors at the event because he left that to subcontractor Event Medical Services. They had rostered on just 2 doctors despite 30,000 people converging on the venue. He said certainly 1 per 1,000, if not more, was what he was looking at, but was hesitant to commit to numbers. He also made some observations about the police presence after attending the same event in Holland, which attracted 150,000. He said there were no fatalities and there was no policing at that event. He said that it must be very intimidating for young people after seeing the high police presence at festivals in New South Wales to then consider approaching those officers for help. He also spoke out in support of pill testing. The inquest is looking into the deaths of 6 young adults at these festivals. It continues.
Yeah,
yeah.
I probably could have taken the whole 9 News part out of it. I clearly just ripped that off the internet. But credit where credit's due. They did do the story, so yeah, whatever. Please don't copyright strike me. So that really, like, one thing I really took from that story, Dave, from what you were talking about earlier with your time in Holland, was the big police presence. Now, you said there was still a huge police presence in the Netherlands for DEF CON, but you just didn't see them.
Yeah, it was super undercover, very covert, and it was very discreet. They didn't make a thing of it because they didn't want to alert the people that they needed to keep an eye on.
I guess they didn't want to freak people out into
Yeah,
doing something that they didn't have to do, like
it's
dump
just
all their drugs or anything like that.
Completely different way of doing things. Now, we had a few discussions about this when we were overseas, going, oh, you know, why is it like this in Europe and why is it like it back in home? And trying to blame entities for a lot of things. But at the end of the day, I think it's a lot of things, you know. This is a bit of a tangent, right? But do you remember the Cronulla riots?
Well, I don't know. I didn't live in Sydney, but
Everyone knows about it, right?
Yeah.
I grew
It
up.
was covered in Victoria.
Well,
Don't you worry.
I grew up in the eastern suburbs, right? So my primary school years, I grew up in Redfern, and my high school years, I grew up in Clovelly. So I know through primary school years, I just remembering what the police were like back in the day. Like if they pulled you over and wanted to teach you a lesson, they'd pull out the phone book and beat you up with one of them. You know, like it was really like hard yakka growing up in Redfern, you know. And in the eastern suburbs, it wasn't that much different if you were causing trouble by the beach, right? And I spent copious amounts of time by the beach, but a lot of stuff got blamed during that Cronulla riots, racism and all this stuff, right? I even got told to go back to my own country, and I was born here.
Yeah.
I don't even speak another language. I'm like, mate, like seriously, you're picking on the wrong person. But the real reason why, and I know this for a fact because my youngest son was a lifeguard at Bondi, the real reason why all of this sparked was not because of race. It was because there were young guys going to the beach and harassing girls, and there was no longer a police presence at the beach because police numbers were getting cut back. So you didn't have a police presence anymore. So what happens is when you have issues at the beach, and instead of having police deal with the issues, guess who the next person is with responsibility at the beach? The lifeguards.
The lifeguard.
Guess how old the lifeguards are that are working summers at the beach?
Like 14, 15.
15, 16, 17, 18, young guys with testosterone that are fit, trying to impress chicks at the beach. Like, it's so like yin and yang. And then you got guys coming from out west because, you know, it's summer, they're going to the beach. They're causing all these issues. And it blew up and it got escalated by the media. And even though it's a tangent, it's pretty much what's happening now. There is an issue.
Tie it together for me.
It's
Please.
a greater issue that is happening in the whole of Australia with government policy that's created a culture that is not being managed properly by the police force and is being blown up by the media.
Yep.
So you used to be able to go to the club and buy a drink. You'd have dollar drinks.
Yeah.
The dollar drink special.
Yep.
And you'd buy any drink for $1. And then what happened was so many people were buying alcohol and alcohol this and alcohol that prices started getting so expensive that doing drugs is just financially the best option.
Yep.
So that's how the whole I'm going to do drugs instead of alcohol happened.
Yeah.
Then from that created the culture of doing drugs at parties instead of alcohol. So then we've gone past the point of a financial reason to do drugs to it's just what you do.
Yep.
To the point now where the police don't know how to manage this situation. They just really don't.
Can I stop there for a second? Because there's another underlying issue before we even get to the point of drugs, and that's the culture of excessiveness. When we're brought up when we're young, we're taught alcohol is just alcohol, like it's a way of life, and we go hard. And I think that same mentality is brought to drug culture in Australia.
Yeah, Australians are like that. We've got that in us. We go nuts. We go hard out.
Yep.
I think that's in us, not just with drugs though. That's just in our day.
Everything.
It's
But
like
this-
sport. Like we don't play sport just to have a good time and keep fit. Like we want to win that shit. Like-
But it's like a beaver when a beaver builds a dam. The beaver knows the nature of the water is to flow downstream. So what does the beaver do? It builds a dam to thwart that motion for its own benefit. So what we've done with our culture is we have a culture of going hard, and through financial gain or legislation or no future planning or thinking, the government has
just trying to thwart us, flow of the river.
Yeah, doing their thing has created a new systematic approach to partying by Australians where it's not even about drugs aren't even cheap really that anymore either. It's just there's the two options. Well, everyone does drugs. It's a culture. So that's what they're doing. And they're doing it to excess. And because it's not regulated, it's so hit and miss what you take. And it's not regulated in Europe, but it's not overly policed.
Yeah.
So there isn't, like, you got to understand, as a kid, and I call young adults kids still because they're still growing out of that mentality of, I'm not supposed to be doing this. This is cool. So when you over police, you, with one hand, are slapping the issue, but with the other hand, you're raising the issue up. So you're trying to slap down drugs, but you're also raising its popularity by making it cool. And I don't want to blame the government. I don't want to blame parents. I don't want to blame ravers. I really don't want to blame anyone. It's a much bigger issue, and there's a lot of things in place that need to change. And I think a lot of it has started from one situation, and that is with alcohol being removed as the choice, the let's call it a drug of choice, to now where people are actually taking drugs and they're experimenting with so many different types of drugs.
But can I ask? My question is, doesn't it start with the government? Because in order for us to fix these issues that we have, they're supposed to be the leader, and they're the ones that in terms of allowing us harm reduction, in terms of driving education, in terms of changing the culture, they need to be the leaders on this.
I think if we rely on our government to change our culture, we would never move forward.
I didn't say rely. I said they're the lead. They need to be leaders upon it.
I think we as a community need to start really revisiting what we're doing, so that way the government then change their opinion and their mind.
But I think we have done that, haven't we?
I think a lot of us are working hard towards it,
Yeah.
but for some reason the young kids coming through
Yeah.
are not getting that message.
Yeah, I agree.
There's a massive gap. And
Because I agree, but that's because it's celebrated. The young kids it's what's the word? I can't remember the term for it, but basically kids see it as, oh fuck, it's cool to do it.
I'll give you another example, right? And this is the way the Europeans think. So we were driving to Dubrovnik, and there was Jared and Casey, Raziel, DJ Raziel, and that. We were on the car. Me, Casey, and Scatterly were drinking, and we're going to Jared. Oh, have a drink, and he's like, no, I'm driving. I'm being Dezo driver. You know, everyone knows Dezo driver. Blah blah blah. And we're like, we wonder what the drink driving laws are in Croatia, just out of curiosity. You know what you know what percentage of alcohol you can drink in Croatia before you're not allowed to drive no more? None. There's no drink driving percentage. You can drink and drive. The only time you're tested is if you have an accident. So the mentality in Croatia is drink, just don't get into an accident.
Or don't be,
Yeah.
Where here in Australia, it's like, don't drink, you will get into an accident.
yeah.
It's
'Cause
different.
I think part of that as well is that
They don't have accidents.
You can't really bring that up unless you're going to bring statistics about drink driving accidents in Croatia.
no.
But they don't really have them.
they don't. Yeah.
They don't have them, and they don't really have. And it's like that in most of Europe, because the mentality is not we're telling you what you're going to do. It's the people saying, no, this is your responsibility, mate.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. I completely agree.
It's not. It's not Gladys.
It's if unfortunately it's you have a responsibility to yourself. If you take drugs, then you accept the consequences.
I think a lot of the problem, and I'm just maybe pissing in the wind here a little bit, but like Australia is also one of the youngest developed nations on the planet, compared to somewhere where Europe that have had generation upon generation upon generation where they've had access to things like alcohol and substance and so forth. Australia's only settled by Europeans 210 odd years ago.
Yeah, we're
So they've had so many more generations to have a culture where they've matured up and so forth. And Australia, at the end of the day, like like I said with the young ones, we have an immature mentality of going hard and doing that because we just
I just think I think and everyone, like especially the government, needs to stop, take a massive step back and say, hang on.
Yeah,
this ain't working.
It's not working. And all you're doing is building such a massive negative reputation on our whole country.
And also a huge divide between the law,
Mate,
police,
people-
and
People
and the
everywhere I travelled, people think Australia is so backwards.
Yep.
And you try and tell them so one of the things that with Crocodile Dundee, right, when Crocodile Dundee was released, one of the primary goals for Crocodile Dundee was to show Americans that Australia wasn't actually some backyard bush town, that Australia had a modern city. Hence why Crocodile Dundee led towards the city to show how modern the city was. That was actually part of the task of the story writers. It is literally showing the rest of the world how backward we are mentally, with our mentality. And I'm not talking about pill testing and stuff like that. I think there needs to be a point where we really need to seriously have a long, hard look at just our laws on drugs. Like Portugal had a massive drug problem.
big on heroin.
Huge drug problem. And what they decided to do is, you know
They
what?
legalized everything.
All
didn't they?
drugs are legal now.
Yep.
Personal use.
But
Well,
they treated it. What changed it was they treated it as
a
a
health
health
problem,
issue
yeah.
instead of a criminal issue.
And you know what? Literally fixed nearly all their issues.
But unfortunately, one of the things that I've been sort of grappling with is whether the government has a vested interest in doing what they're doing at the moment.
It doesn't matter. It's resolved a lot of the issues.
I completely agree.
It's
with that,
made
but
drugs suddenly less cool.
It does, but
It's made drugs suddenly not more accessible, but it's made people less paranoid about having drugs on themselves.
yeah.
Yep.
When people are caught with drugs for personal use, the police don't find them. They make them go to their family doctor and
Yeah.
discuss what they were doing.
But see,
It's about counselling. It's about moving forward in a positive way. It's not like you're waiting to get into an event and you panic and then you dump 3 or 4 caps,
no, of course not.
which is what happened to one of the girls. Like, it's just a different approach and a different mentality. And
You were saying, D?
This is the thing that I'm struggling to come to. This is one of the things that I'm struggling to come to terms with. Everything that you have said, I completely agree with. The thing that I'm struggling to come to terms with is that the evidence is there. All the evidence is there, and yet the government still has a zero tolerance.
That's my problem. They're just not looking to budge.
Yeah, and that's and for me, that's why I said to you before. I'm wondering whether they have a vested interest somehow.
Is in our government has a
Our
vested-
government has a vested interest because logically, anybody knows that if you're provided with evidence, you have to explore that evidence,
Well, yeah.
right? And they're not, and it makes me wonder why. Like there has to be a valid reason why. Going back to your comment about you don't want to blame the government. I can't like I do place some not blame, but I do place some onus on them only because in my own opinion, is that until this generation of politicians moves on and the next generation goes into power, it's never going to change.
Well, that would have to be a catastrophic change of government for that to happen realistically. Because as new politicians come in, they are guided by the ones that are already there.
And that's what scares me.
Yeah.
However, there are younger politicians that are currently coming through that still have a voice. And like, I mean, the amount of politicians, say the younger politicians to the older politicians who share the same view, there are a lot more younger ones coming through.
I'll tell you facts, right? And I'll give you rough numbers. How many people went to the last DEF CON?
I think about 20,000.
About 20,000? How many individual ravers within a year turned to some sort of hardstyle event in Australia?
How many individual people?
Yeah.
Maybe well over 100,000.
100. Let's blow it up to 100,000. Let's double that figure, triple that figure, to include at least each of them having 2 mates that understand the rave scene. So let's call it 300,000. Let's elevate that to 500,000. We have 500 sympathetic people that understand our plight within the hardest style scene in Australia. A population of 26 million. 500,000 is nothing.
Yeah.
Exactly, I agree.
And that's why we have
policy
to
won't
realise
And that's why obviously
that's why government is following the policy of the 25,500
25 million,
25 million, 500,000 people.
Yeah.
Because the rest of the country agrees with the government.
Yep.
And that's why I'm saying we need to stop blaming Gladys and we need to stop blaming the government, because a little fact is the New South Wales government isn't who stopped DEFCON this year. I won't go into it
Why not?
because
Because I want to talk about it on my news. So then we can talk about it on Scat Chat next month.
I think we really need to, like, I always taught my kids this: when you point your finger, there's 3 fingers pointing back at you. So every time you have blame for someone, there's 3 reasons why you need to blame yourself. And I think our community need to really have a long, hard look at itself and its drug use.
But is it? Yeah, I agree. But it's not just our community. I think it's the Australian music community.
Yeah, but
There has been a war on music, not just drugs.
we're
We're
in our community. That's all we can talk about.
No, I understand that, but then
There's no other community in the music in the electronic music industry in Australia that has a tight knit community like our scene does. I mean, people within our scene, from Adelaide, Melbourne, Brisbane, and Sydney, we all know each other. We know each other's DJs. We know each other's music. You can't really say that in other genres. You can't. We're quite literally the most united scene.
I think a lot of people find it easy to blame Gladys and to blame the government, though, because we've had 10 years of decision making that has affected us directly and consistently, from lockout laws to the festival knee-jerk reaction laws, and it's been constant for about a decade. And not just Gladys, from Barry O'Farrell right through Mark Baird, and then Gladys. So, I can understand why people want to blame the government, because they've meddled and made so many life-changing decisions for so many of us. I'm not saying that they are to blame. I'm not saying you're wrong that, our society needs to change, but, like, to what? Like, the expectations also changing at a rapid rate as well.
Mate, in the 90s, we used to have a rave called MDMA.
Oh.
It was one of the biggest raves and everyone went to it.
In the 90s and early 2000s, raves had the best fucking names, like, ever. Just in general.
Imagine having a party called MDMA now.
Wait, how many people were going to it?
Oh, about 4,000-5,000.
So what's the difference between then and now?
Because it wasn't in the media. There was no lawmakers. Police didn't turn up to the event unless they were shutting it down.
I actually really like the idea that you brought up earlier about having large police presence, but not necessarily making them so visible.
Well, are you going to
Because
ask...
if you know that...
You have to ask yourself
there,
a question, right? The biggest question for me, and this is what I said to the copper when
as long as those coppers then aren't, like, literally just walking around trying to arrest every single person that they can.
That's
and that's the mentality of
when
the
I
New
got
South
strip
Wales
searched, right, I was like, you're strip searching me?
Yeah.
Not like I have an thing, but I'm like, dude, I'm people to not do drugs.
Yeah.
You're strip searching me? What? And then they strip searched me in the room with the door half open. They didn't care. They just wanted me to hurry up, get naked, check, and then make me move on.
Yep.
And I was losing the plot. And I lined 4 coppers up and I absolutely lambasted them. I gave it to them. They called over a senior copper and I didn't even switch off. I started losing it at him. And I'm like, I'm innocent. I've just been strip searched naked. You guys, and I was just losing it. And then I turned to the senior officer and I've got a question for you. If I take away your dogs, what else do you have to find drugs? I go, you got nothing. You're relying just on a dog because you have no other tools. What are your tools? At the airport, they scan you, they check your bags, they got wands, they do pat downs. That's what they're doing to stop stuff getting into the country. But at the events, they've literally just got, oh, he looks suspicious, and oh, they've got the dog. But that's it. And the dog is not even accurate. And it actually makes you worry because one girl is getting busted with 600 caps in her. Well, what about the other 12 people that have gotten through? Because the drug dealers aren't just sending one chick in.
My problem with the drug dog operation, like I said, because that is pretty much their sole way of trying to keep drugs out of a festival.
Yep.
Let's say I was a drug dealer and my motivation is not for anybody to have a good time. My motivation is to make money. So what am I going to do to make money? I'm going to send people into that event with drugs that don't set off sniffer dogs, like PMA, GHB, things that are lethal, dangerous, especially when mixed with other drugs like MDMA. And that's where my problem is. If that is the sole way people are trying to get out, that's my problem with sniffer dogs and the operation, is that people are just going to smuggle in stuff that they can make a huge amount of profit from and not care about the consequences of the people who take them and get it in there. That's my issue with
Yeah, but like my I don't have a problem with the cops being undercover or inside trying to arrest people or bust, all that stuff they're doing inside is great. That's normal police work.
Yeah.
My issue is the getting through the actual security, the security and the police presence,
The police gauntlet.
the police gauntlet, and they literally only have one tool in their disposal, and it's not working. And if I'm a drug,
They do have undercovers lining up with people too.
yeah, well, great.
Yeah.
So
But-
my question to you is,
But if I'm
you said-
if I'm a drug dealer, and I'm just guessing here because I don't know numbers, but say I'm a drug dealer and I've got 10,000 caps. Am I going to try and put 10,000 caps on one person, or am I going to put 1,000 caps in 10 people?
Of course, 10.
10. One gets caught, still got 9 people inside. And that's what they're doing, I'm assuming, because the drugs are still getting in. And that's my problem. Like, HSU have got almost like war type physicians and medical procedures in place. They've got people walking around, trying to spot people that are in need. They've got cool down area. I mean, it's just absolutely next level what these guys are doing. But how are you helping HSU with what they're trying to do when the police are not really changing anything at the gate to encourage people not to try and smuggle drugs
I have
through?
noticed they've moved their sniffer dog operation inside the event now. Like I stood at one of the gates and watched 15 people get arrested because there was a sniffer dog at the only one of 2 exits into the venue. And they were just walking out to have a cigarette or whatever. And then anyone who has like one pill in their pocket, or they tried to turn around and walk off, and the dog wasn't even getting anyone that got arrested. They were just looking for people's reaction to the dog. That was it. But yeah, I agree.
I think the police, the heavy police presence in the dog, it doesn't work, and all it's doing is encouraging people to focus on drugs. And when you encourage people to focus on the drugs becomes the primary focus of the event.
who's in charge of the police?
Well, that's the government, but that's the mentality of the raver needs to change as well, to make them realize, look, if you just focus on drinking instead of doing drugs, all these problems disappear.
But they like taking drugs.
That's another problem.
That's the cultural problem. You've got to.
That's cultural problem, and that's the thing. Like, I remember, I'm not going to go into names, but someone said, "Look, kids are meant to make mistakes, right? They shouldn't be
Forever punished for a minor mistake.
They shouldn't be forever punished, but there should be a support system there to help them if they ever get in trouble. Because once they make a mistake, they won't make the mistake again. I think that's what's missing at the moment, is that right now, if kids make a mistake, like, kids are afraid to make a mistake, so they go to the extreme. And then they get in trouble, and then, unfortunately, they don't get, there are some kids that...
I have heard that too, where people go, well, if I get caught with 3, it's the same as getting caught with 40. so I'll take 40 in. Like,
When I say mistake, I mean like in terms of pill taking,
yeah, well,
because kids are supposed to make mistakes. That's why they pay. That's why they pay. That's why we pay tax dollars. Is that so? So if we ever need help, it's there. So that stays in my mind because it's very, very true. I think there is a disconnect between the police and the public. I think that's the other thing, is that they don't really understand what's going on. But I think part of that is the zero tolerance.
I think the police understand what's going on, and they're just trying to fight against it because they basically need everyone's culture to change. So the police are there to police the current situation. So whatever the current situation is, they then put the measures in place. So if the current situation is ravers are bringing drugs into the party, they then create the net over the top to try and stop that.
No one's going.
The way that net changes isn't by us whinging to the person that's telling them to put the net there. It's by us stopping bringing drugs in.
or at a very bare minimum, stop incidences happening that relate and involve drugs as well, like dyings and overdoses, whatever else.
So
like if that continues,
yeah.
then the police they're not going to go anywhere.
Mate, you know,
The two deaths at DEF CON were due to from what has come out in the inquiry was due to MDMA poisoning coupled with overheating.
Yeah.
Right. The girl that died at FOMO, she ingested drugs because before she went into the party.
yeah.
The guy that died after knockout was not inside the knockout grounds, but after knockout at the train station. MDMA poisoning due to overheating
And cocaine. And
cocaine.
And cocaine, yeah.
Okay. So right there, I mean, you've got pretty clear. If they're looking at what can they do to what could they have done to support these kids, I'm pretty sure it's crystal clear.
Yeah, that there's a bit of attitude, like you said, some cultural adjustment there. The guy that died after HSU at the train station was offered help like twice, or his friends suggested that he should go and get help twice, and refused twice, even though clearly something was wrong, and I think he knew that as well. And I think the other guy that died at the earlier HSU event that tripped over the people's feet, he had PMA in his system as well. That was
But that wasn't. He didn't die because of drugs. That was due to him hitting his head, right?
still died from drugs. Yes.
So because of drugs, he died.
Yeah.
Wow, didn't know that.
Well,
It wasn't a concussion or anything like that. It just that happened as well.
the
Probably didn't help the
five
situation.
things that the kids are doing right now is MDMA. For some reason, a lot of them are doing a cocaine now. Cocaine's a big thing.
Yep.
It's come back in a big way.
Because everyone can afford it.
So it's MDMA, cocaine, ketamine. Ketamine's huge right now. It's huge.
Nangs.
Nangs. And I think the biggest one, which I think is our next biggest issue, is GHB.
G's always been. an
G's
issue.
always been big, but I just think now it's becoming known that it's big.
It's getting really
Yeah.
big,
The sixth danger is that they're mixing all of them.
and they're mixing them. And MDMA and G are heavily affected by heat.
Yeah.
And in Australia, that's not good.
Yeah. Nikki's got a point. She said, "People, the way police treat people is in searches is inexcusable.
Yep.
People who've been wrongly searched gave evidence at the inquest of how they upset they were, and some even likened it to sexual assault. What they had to go through the strip searches, especially the girls, especially if they'd been through actual sexual assault or been raped in the past. They said that was just brought it all back for them.
I
Which is
remember-
horrible to hear.
I remember at one of the parties, I was coming late, and I was supposed to come a couple of hours later, but only reason why I ended up rocking up early because I ended up getting a message from Anne-Marie, who'd just been strip searched. And if anyone knows Anne-Marie, she's pretty straighty 180. Like, she was like, when I finally got to Homebush and I got to her, she was so rattled. And this is a strong woman I'm talking about. She's pretty, like, confident woman. She's quite strong. And she was really rattled and really emotional, and it took a while to calm her down. Like, she'd spoken to other people. She's quite angry, but also quite, like, upset about what had
Yeah.
happened, and I managed to end up getting her back in with me, and she ended up enjoying the rest of the night. But it's still like conversations we had afterwards were like
Yeah.
always coming back, and it's just always the same. A lot of people just stop going to those events now because they
Don't want to deal with it.
how do you? I'm talking to people going, oh, it'll be all right. Don't worry. If you're innocent, you'll be sweet. If you've got nothing to hide, it's all good.
Yeah.
And then I got strip searched, and I'm like, well, I can't even say that.
Yeah, it changes your
Because-
whole outlook on it, doesn't it?
Man, I don't touch anything, and I'm like, and I'm getting holy crap. Everyone is a target.
Well,
What do they say? Everybody's a suspect.
Yeah.
How are we a country now that everyone's guilty until proven innocent?
well, hopefully that's some things are going to change. Like I know the New South Wales Police have now had to show the inquest what their standard procedure is when it comes to drug dogs, and they couldn't produce it, and still can't.
I think the other issue is that police are telling us the wrong information.
I think the-
saying that we're allowed to do this when they're clearly not.
I think the police don't know, like the people on the ground police, they don't know. They don't know what the whole police force stance is, and I think this inquest is showing either does the top brass
Yep.
of the New South Wales police force, because they actually can't come up with a procedure on their how the dogs work and all that sort of stuff.
Not just that, but even the strip searches that they're unlawful.
Unlawful.
They're unlawful.
Absolutely. We're going to cover more of that in the future Unhinged shows. Of course, the inquest is still going, and when it finishes, it's going to reconvene sometime in September. I think the coroner gathers all her findings. Spends about a month or two doing that, and then they all reconvene for a week, and then she goes through what her recommendations are, which are not law; they're just recommendations that she can put forward to the government. And go from there. We are gonna end this show because it's at like 10:30 now, and we're gonna do we've still got our exclusive little Patreon video that we're gonna do. So I'll give it. Let's have some final words. Oh, actually, instead of final words, let's just go through what we're all doing in the coming month. Dave, you've just come back from Europe. You've got some events going on. Hit us.
Okay, so one thing I'm excited about is Rocket Science is coming up. And I've got two crazy acts that are flying over from Holland for it.
Yep.
One is Access One, who's been featuring main stage at so many events. Like he was at Dominator, DEF CON, Masters of Hardcore. Like this guy is playing everywhere. He's signed to Mad Dog's label. Like he's an incredible act, and we finally get to see him here in Australia. He's young too, but the guy that I'm excited for the most is E-Dub.
Yeah.
E-Dub's huge. He's playing at Tomorrowland.
Hectic.
He's incredible. So check out the Rocket Science Club group, or if not, go to Team Rocket Entertainment and follow the Rocket Science 14 event link. And I hope to see you guys there because it's a Friday night. It's going to be a sick little night. Lots of happy hardcore, lots of hardcore.
What date?
And raw style. There's a few raw style acts.
30th of August.
30th of August. And we're already halfway through our third release. So
I've just put the link to the Facebook event in the live chat.
yeah, so that's the major thing I've got coming up next. There's a lot of events. I'm going to be updating my davepsi.com website in the next couple of days. So scroll over there if you want to see what other things I'm playing at. But Rocket Science 14.
D, what do you got coming up, mate?
Massive.
Okay,
And
just
also,
putting the links in now. Massive.
also, a couple of huge things in Brisbane with the Shot Guys.
Man, they're nailing shit up there, aren't they?
Coming up
Yeah.
big, doing some amazing work, and also some big things in Melbourne,
Yeah.
which I'm really excited for. So, it's been a good first 6 months, but I think the next 6 months for the harder styles community is going to be fucking huge.
Cool, these.
What are you doing?
Hard Dance Icons, bro.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, August 2. Yep, bit of hard house, bit of old school, bit of hard trance.
When's rehab?
The next rehab. That's all we've got time for today.
Watch this space.
Yeah,
What's this space?
just been dealing with this, mate.
You guys like the cups?
Let's get Unhinged ones done.
No one hinges. I don't want to steal Dave's thing. It's his thing.
Could be our thing, though.
Hey?
Could be our thing.
Oh, we've got our own thing.
That was perfect. Give me that one. That was sick.
All right, guys. Thanks for excuse me, joining us for our first Scat Chat back for 2019. Thank you, guys, and good to have you back, Dave.
Welcome back,
Nice.
buddy.
I mean that.
I 8 o'clock earlier. Sorry, it was a bit time consuming. So
And we'll leave you on that note. We'll see you next week for Spun, the debut of Spun with Josie and Dave. Catch you later, guys.